Hey guys, I just wanted to jump in for a second and let you know a little bit about today's live stream sponsor, DNA Funded. DNA Funded has very generous profit sharing up to 90% and 3 different unique challenge types. For those looking to get funded, they also have speedy payouts, unlimited trading days on the first and second phase of their challenges, a very wide list of different things you can trade with over 800 different assets tradable, and maybe the most important component, a very experienced team behind the whole operation. So if you're interested in learning more about DNA Funded, click the link, check it out, see if it's right for you, and make sure to do your own due diligence to see if what they have to offer fits your trading style. For 10% off, you can use code A1TradingDF10. Again, that will be a 10% discount off of any of their trials you'd like to check out. Thank you again to DNA Funded for sponsoring today's live stream. Now back to the show. All right, everybody, good morning. Welcome back. Hey, check out DNA Funded if you haven't already. I know a lot of people are out there and they, just a quick thing on the funding stuff. Look, most people who get into markets, they get to a point where they say, okay, wait, I'm not a bad trader. I just don't have a lot of capital. Now, you can make that mistake by saying that too early when you actually still are a bad trader. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of traders get to a point where they're like, wait, I actually can produce like 1, 2, 3% per month consistently and do it on a relative basis that's not a crazy drawdown levels. But that doesn't do me any good if I'm working with $1,000. So a lot of traders lack capital. Now, I want to be very, very particular here. If you are kind of working off of the basis that, look, generally speaking, how to trade, but you lack capital. If that is truly you, and you can be very honest with yourself and say, that is me, then check out funding programs. For example, ours has a special discount A1T10. Get 10% off with DNA Funded. That is a brokerage that launched a prop firm. I like those models a lot better personally. They're better capitalized. It's not some random influencer creating a prop firm out of their garage. It's a real company. So check out DNA Funded. If you have not already, take advantage of that discount that they're offering our subscribers and check it out. But I reiterate over and over, do not touch funding if you are not a profitable trader. That sounds so simplistic, but we'll see. Somebody said oil up and away. You got me excited, and then I pulled up the chart and it hasn't saved me yet. We might get stopped out on oil today. What I like here, why I'm still in the trade, is at least for now, the 61.8 is saying we're not going any lower right now. It's trying to hold. We'll see if that holds or not. Hey, Nick, does the program have restrictions based on nationality? Basil, I would just check out their website to see if your country is on there. And you can see. I'm not exactly sure all the countries that are or not on the list off the top of my head. Bitcoin trade still doing okay. Nice little rally here in the last few days. NASDAQ gapped higher. Guys, we had Apple earnings. Apple earnings were good, but what really got the market excited, I saw this in the report. Tim Cook, Apple's CEO, made the mention that in places where Apple Intelligence is being released, like it's not being released everywhere yet, where it is being released, Apple sales have increased. That's the idea that the market, I think, got excited about yesterday. And that's why I think after hours, the market popped by 4% for Apple, or the stock popped by 4% for Apple. And I think that also, earnings season has been really good. So this big fear that we went into the week, oh my gosh, DeepSeek's going to crush everybody. Well, earnings season came in and said, look, U.S. tech, U.S. innovation is still dominant. It's still very strong. Don't bet against it. It's got a graveyard of short sellers everywhere trying to bet against technology in the last few years. Now, it doesn't mean that forever it will go up. There are times where the bulls are in the graveyard. But right now, we are in a bull market, and that just means I don't look to short the stuff. I look to buy dips until further notice, right? Anyways, where are you guys tuning in from? Let me know in the chat. That's Tim Apple to you. Yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. What can you say on German 40? You know, US markets are rallying, but so are other places. Let's do a little round the world, shall we? EWZ, this is the Brazilian stock market. Nice little rip. Take a look at FXI. This is China. Nice little bounce back here recently. I think it's EWW is Canada. No, that's Mexico. Mexico, not as loved because there's some tariff fears, right? But a lot of places, a lot of countries, Europe. Have you guys seen the DAX, the German stock market? Absolutely ripping, right? Here's EWG. It's an ETF that tracks the German index fund. Really strong move. You could also just pull up DAX here. So, you know, you've got some strength there. By the way, guys, bear with me. I'm finishing up something off screen that was kind of urgent this morning. We've got about 8 minutes to go here. Apologies. The other thing is we've got gold. Look at this, guys. 2805. Gold making moves here, making headline plays this morning. Very, very strong push there. DAX is my best trade so far this year. Congrats, Lee. Yeah, no, it's a beast. You've got a lot of markets ripping here. And, you know, it makes you wonder, like, where's the top on this stuff? And you can ask that question all the time. Like, where's the top of the NASDAQ, the S&P 500? When are these things going to crash? And if you've been saying that, look, don't hold your breath. I'm not saying they can't crash at some point. They will. But timing the top of a market or the bottom of the market. It's the same reason why, you know, you guys know I've been hesitant on gold, but absolutely not shorting it, right? Because it's in a strong bull market. We just consolidated for a few months. I wish I was in this gold play. That would be great, but I am currently not. Slovenia. We got South Africa, HK50 China. Yes, it is. There's many different symbols for China. You could do FXI, KWeb, MCHI, HK50. There's many symbols for the same thing. Rwanda, Kenya, UK, South Africa. Good to see everybody in the building today. Anybody, I wonder who the most, who's the guy, who's like tuning in from the most unique country? Anybody tuning in from a country none of us have heard of before? Scotland, Nigeria, India. Hey, you know what? I've never heard of India. Just kidding. I got to say one thing that is awesome about Indians. Anybody agree with this? I think Indians might be the most nationalistic, like love their country place on earth. It's like you guys just love your country, and I love that. I think that is so cool. Nick, I'm in a loss. Help me. If you are in a loss, if you're in a drawdown, if you're in a losing streak, and you're not sure what to do, then you have failed to prep for drawdowns. If you're in a situation where you're like, I don't know what to do, I'm in a massive drawdown, you didn't prepare for drawdown, which is inevitable, right? So you're going to have situations where drawdown happens. It's inevitable. Everybody's going to have a drawdown. But if you don't prepare for it, right? If you don't have a proper plan for what's going to happen, when it goes wrong, it's going to blow up at some point. So what I would say is that if you're going through major drawdown, this is my opinion. I think when I go through a major drawdown, if it was like a catastrophic drawdown, I'm like, what have I gotten myself into? And I've been there in my trading years ago. The answer was shut it down and start over, right? You can't just like, nothing's going to magically save the day. You've got to just say, look, I made a mistake. I didn't do this correctly. I made a rookie mistake of risking too much. And now I need to accept the consequences of being underperformed and being greedy and rushing into trading, and instead start fresh and say, look, I'm not going to make those mistakes. I'm going to trade with very appropriate risk management. And so that is all you can do. Australia full-time trader, TradingView. I saw your video, Nick, of London Open breakout trade, and I closed positions in profit the past 2 days now. Christopher, that's awesome. London breakout is a really popular concept. The idea that volume surges in the London session for currencies and gold and things like that. So there can be some really remarkable moves. Look at gold, guys, trading 28.05, fresh all-time high. Love to see that. Nick, why do you have clean hairstyle? Well, you know, I only spend about 45 minutes per day doing my hair. So, you know, got to put in the work, you know what I mean? I'm just kidding. I spend about 4 minutes each day, you know, shower, comb it all back. You know, I've had a lot of requests for the hair routine, and it honestly, it humbles me. I'm like, wow, you know, maybe I just have the greatest hair on earth. It's me right behind Donald Trump. I'm just kidding. I got blessed with some wavy hair. My brother got the curly hair, but he got the height. And you know, honestly, I don't know which one I'd rather have. Maybe the hair. I'm 5'9", guys, in case you cared. But Dow Jones sitting at 45,000. It's an interesting time, guys. We got everything on the precipice of all-time highs. Bitcoin near all-time highs. Gold all-time highs today. Dow Jones right there. NASDAQ, it's working its way. S&P real close. Silver 20 years off of its all-time highs. Silver's been, you can look at like the all-time high for silver. It is astoundingly far away. 49.95 or whatever. And that's 2011's highs. But you know, everything else, Ethereum kind of disappointing a lot of the crypto crowd, but up 3.4% today. Maybe there's a little catch-up trade coming for the Ethereum guys. Dogecoin, I put my entire life savings in this one. Just kidding, I did not. But I keep it on my watch list because it's the ultimate kind of, to me, Dogecoin is like the altcoin placeholder, if that makes sense. Dollar index, still holding strong, got support. Oh, and guys, we got 1 minute to go, so let me not miss key economic data dropping here. Core PCE is coming out in the next 40 seconds or so. I'm going to switch over to our all markets view. If you guys could do me a big favor, hit the thumbs up button on the stream if you're enjoying it. It does help just to support the YouTube channel here and keep these shows coming every single day for free. That is our goal, is to spread value, offer value to the trading community every day. Okay, we got about 20 seconds to go, guys. We'll go ahead and roll our breaking news. And if you wonder why we do the breaking news thing, it's because it's cool. Okay, coming out here in the next 5 seconds or so, we should get core PCE, some inflation reads. Let's see what we get today. All right, nothing just yet. Dollar index pretty unchanged. Okay, and core PCE came in line on a month-over-month basis. Can somebody give me the year-over-year number if you have it? Okay, S&P 500 not really making any moves. I mean, dollar index snapped a little bit to the upside, but really, really unchanged for the most part. Anybody have the year-over-year number? I should have just pulled it up, but 2.8. Okay, 2.8. So really not a big surprise, not a big mover there. PCE numbers are out and markets are pretty unchanged. You can see for the day, stocks have trended up across the board here. Russell looking really strong this morning and actually liking this news, it seems. Then meanwhile, you have the dollar index pretty unchanged here, has been also kind of making a move higher. Gold, probably, in my opinion, still free to journey into new fresh highs here. Oil bouncing. Bitcoin shy of 105. Okay, let's take a look now at that gold price action. Let's see what's happening here. Here's your 5-minute chart. Look at that gold rushing through the highs. And gold looks, oh man, gold looks really good. To be honest, though, I'm still going to stick to my system. You guys know I'm an adamant believer in my 3-part system. I actually think I'm going to do a full start to finish game plan reveal of my system and strategy. I want to make a video. It's probably going to be like a 1 hour plus length video. But the system itself is really straightforward. Now, in the 1 hour session, I'm going to go in as much detail as I possibly can with my trading system. A big thing on my channel is I don't have any secrets. I don't have any, oh, I secretly do this strategy. I stay as transparent as I can. I show you guys my brokerage reports. I also show you my entire trading strategy start to finish. Now, there's a kicker. There is a sales pitch in my trading strategy because, you know, I use a system that is core to the strategy, the Edge Finder, which is a product that we sell. So transparently, I will always tell you when I am, you know, when I've got something to sell to you. The Edge Finder is a remarkable tool that I think is worth every penny. But there's a 3-part system to what I do. There's the why, and I've said this many times. So if you've heard this before, I apologize. We're going to repeat ourselves here a little bit, but there's 3 parts, okay? How much? Here's the 3 parts. Why do I want to buy a certain asset? And I want to ask everybody in, let's do a thought experiment. Think through this with me. Ask yourself the same questions. You may not use the same system as me. You may not use the same strategy as me. That's totally fine. But these questions, you should have answers prepared. Okay? So let's do a thought experiment. It's Friday. Let's set up 2025 to be a good year. How do you do that? You plan. So 3 parts, 3 components. Why do I want to buy Bitcoin? Why do I want to sell pound yen? Why do I want to buy oil? Why do I want to sell Aussie dollar? Why do I want to buy those things? And the answer to the why for me is not, oh, well, it's trading above a moving average, or, oh, it's hitting a support level, or it just broke this key support level and now it's selling off. Like, those are, to me, all answers to the when component of this. When do I want to take an action in the market is different than why do I want to buy something. The better question to ask yourself, especially if you are more interested in fundamental analysis and understanding the real forces behind the market. Why does something have value, or why does something lack value? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself. Why does the dollar have more value than the Australian dollar? Why is that? Once you understand the why, the rest can be sorted out. But most traders, in my opinion, completely skipped this part. They just go, when do I buy it? When do I sell it? When's the best entry? What's the best pattern to trade so I never have drawdown? Like, that is what most traders jump to, is they just say, when do I buy it? When do I sell it? Like, when's timing, entries. That's what most, like, we can all probably recognize, like, that's the you know, appeal in trading world is like, you look up YouTube and it's like, best entry strategy, best, timings for buys and sells. Like, that's what sells to people. That's what makes sense to the average newcomer to trading. They don't look into, why does something have value and why should it continue trending and why should it, like, be skeptical. Why should something trend the way it's trending? Is that valid? If it's not, we don't want to touch it, right? If something is trending up, but it doesn't have a good why, doesn't have a good value read, we need to be careful with that, right? So why for me comes from the fundamental analysis component of my trading strategy, which I use the Edge Finder as my systematic approach to that. So I am looking at a collection, a list of economic data, technical and sentiment readings in the markets to generate a list of bullish assets and a list of bearish assets. So part one to my trading strategy is the why do I think something has value or not. The step two is like the simplest part of the three-step process, which is the technical analysis. So if I believe gold has more upside coming based on the fundamental reads that I just did on the Edge Finder, what I might look for is something like this. Very simple. Everybody here gets that. Technicals are easy, in my opinion. So technical analysis doesn't have to be made complicated. Big break, looking for retests of support, looking for continuation, right? That's a simple concept. I also have a method of trailing stops for trades that I like. Basically, I'm not going to go into that today because that would take me another 15 minutes to explain, but I have a very simple technical analysis approach. And then finally, going back to our three-part process, how much do I want to buy of something? How do I protect myself? This is playing defense. Because even if this is a good setup, I don't want to be an idiot and risk too much, right? So how much is very key to the conversation. Do I want to buy, like how much exposure? What is my correlation here already? Do I already have a bunch of metals plays? If I already have a bunch of metals plays, I may not want to add a bunch to this one. So how much do I want to buy of gold? So for everybody listening, whatever you use in your strategy, I want you to just think about those three questions. Why do you want to buy or sell something? Do you have a system for that? If you do not have a system for that, I would encourage you to look into one, whether it be the Edge Finder or something else. You should have a systematic reason for why you trade something. And in my opinion, especially if you take this stuff seriously and you want to be a fundamentalist, it means your why should have nothing to do with a technical chart. It should have everything to do with the macro, with what's happening in the economies of the world, monetary policy. That stuff should drive why you buy or sell something. Why should you think that Bitcoin has more upside coming? Or why do you think the Australian dollar should continue to be weak against the US dollar? A technical chart is looking backwards. Fundamentals, in my opinion, is looking more forward. That's why we focus. That's why we look at this stuff day in, day out. We're looking at the forward-looking stuff, not the rear view mirror. Technicals are great for entries and knowing when to stop out of positions, and that's what I love technicals for. But it doesn't tell you what's going to happen next, right? So in my opinion, I actually don't love this setup on gold for actual execution because I don't have a reading on gold. Like the gold data scanner has been really neutral recently. We're getting a +1 reading on the Edge Finder for gold right now. So when we look at the economic data, it's a little bit mixed. You've got some stuff that looks really strong for the US economy, keeping gold scores low. And then you've got some sentiment stuff that looks bullish. So the net aggregate, this is why we use a system to cross-check and to kind of validate or invalidate ideas. I don't have a reading on gold right now, so I don't have any trades to place on it. Sure, it can go crazy. It could melt up for the next week, but I stick to my system. I've used the same system for years for a reason. Doesn't mean I'm going to catch every move, and it doesn't mean every trade that I take is going to be a winner, but I have a profitable approach to the markets because I stick to my system. So step one, systematic Edge Finder is perfect for that fundamental edge that many traders are missing, right? You want to make sure you're looking at the data, make sure you're aligned with the trends that are occurring in the data. Then we look at the technicals. And many traders, right, they have that ability to mark up a chart great. You guys, I can't tell you how many people I know that what they were missing was the fundamentals. Their technicals were great. Like they know how to mark up charts. They know how to draw support and resistance. They know how to place stop losses that make good sense, but they're buying into uptrends that don't have good fundamental backing, or they're just trading without the fundamentals. And for me, and for many traders who I've worked with over the years, fundamentals were the missing key. For me, that was it. Once I clicked with the fundamentals, it was like, oh, I'm actually riding like fundamental trends that are cooking right now, right? Rather than trying to fight the fundamentals unknowingly, like once you align with them, it's game changer. So I stick to the system. I look for entries on the Edge Finder that marry up nicely with the technicals, and I manage risk accordingly. So that's kind of the full approach that I use. I don't hide. I don't have any secrecy about what I do. That is the approach. Edge Finders part 1, technicals part 2, risk management part 3. I just repeat that cycle over and over and over. And that's what I've done for years. And that's what's led to the results that I've had. Also, with that full kind of explanation, I do want to also mention that if you are somebody interested in the Edge Finder, our team has been really working to improve this software every single day. We have a full team of 10 people total behind the scenes that make this product into what it is, and the content that you're seeing and all that stuff. If you're interested in taking advantage of a massive discount that we're currently running, you can currently get 35% off the Edge Finder. If you are interested in taking advantage of that offer, today is your last day. Today's Friday. We're ending up the sale pretty soon. So don't miss your opportunity. Pick up a copy of the Edge Finder. Here's how you can do it. You can either go to a1trading.com and in the bottom right, click the live chat option, or you can click the link in the description, or in the chat right now, you can click this link, send us a direct message on our website, and we can go from there. When's the Edge Finder going to be 95% off? Probably never, because we would lose money. There's a lot of money behind the scenes that gets invested into building and maintaining our tools. So it will never be 95% off. 35% off is a massive discount. We rarely go to that level. So if you're interested in taking advantage of that discount, don't miss it. Yeah. Can you scan CFD stocks with the stock screener? We don't have a stock screener on the Edge Finder, but we do have the stock box. The stock box is our other tool that we launched last year for stock traders. It scans similar to the Edge Finder, but it's built specifically for stocks. One thing that we just added on this, which is apparently down, is a market breadth indicator, which we need to obviously repair. This thing is still in beta testing version. It is available if you want access to the stock box, but you can look at so much stuff on here too. Like, for example, we can look at historical PE ratios for your favorite stocks. Like, you can see we have a list of stocks all in here that you can very quickly pull up and take a look at, like examples of historical price to earnings ratios and free cash flows and income statements. And we have a ton of data coming for the stock box as well. So we're working constantly just to build more data for the average trader at home. But take advantage. If you want the stock box, you can also message us on the website using the link that just got dropped and speak with us there. S&P 500 looking good here, up about 0.56%. NASDAQ up 0.8%. PCE didn't move these a whole lot, but they were up to begin with. So not bad at all. Edwin says, hey, how about you guys make the Edge Finder a monthly subscription at a fee that is affordable? Edwin, we do offer that. If you are interested in paying it in parts, we offer monthly installments if you send us a direct message on our website. Just let us know that's something you're interested in. We offer that. Can the stock box be good for long-term investing? Brian, that's kind of what I use it for. It helps me to scan stocks that I like and find opportunities. So yes, the stock box is meant for traders and longer term investors as well. I'm trading stocks through Pepperstone. Awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of non-US traders trade stocks through CFDs. They are the same, they're the same underlying stocks. They're just represented in a different format. So anyways, let's see what else. RTY here. This is the Russell. VIX is continuing lower here. So volatility kind of chilling out more. Oil may end up being a stop loss for me. I've been trying to catch this oil long position, but chart's definitely disagreeing with me here. So I'm going to stop out if we break through those lows. If we get a bounce, then great. I'll continue to hold the trade. Bitcoin's down slightly here today, but 0.13%, barely moved. Dollar index still looks overall pretty strong. Currencies, Japanese yen giving back a little bit of its gains here recently. Euro dollar looking bearish here. Pound dollar looking also pretty weak. Kiwi dollar, very weak. Dollar CAD looking really strong. Look at this. You had that news yesterday. Trump mentioning 25% tariffs on USD CAD. I'm sorry, not USD CAD, on Canada. USD CAD in response, spiking up higher, weakness for the CAD, and then now kind of returning back to this level. Actually, this looks really interesting. Do we currently still have a USD CAD still getting a bullish reading? This might be a trade for me. I might look at USD CAD here. I'm going to watch that, see how that plays out here today. But big shoot to the upside, pulling back into support. Daily chart uptrend. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like dollar CAD. I might look to play that. If I take that trade, it'll be shared inside of our Discord room. I'm going to watch dollar CAD, see if that one can set up for me. Anyways, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll speak with Kenzo to take a look at some Fundamental Friday action, take a look at some charts with him. So we'll be right back with Kenzo just after this quick break.
2025 is here, and to kick off your new year of trading, you can get access to our free A1 Trading Telegram channel. Inside, we share edge finder data, free trading courses, market forecasts written by our in-house traders, and free trade ideas on Forex, indices, gold, and more. And if you're more into the stock trading world, we have a whole Telegram channel dedicated to just that. Start your new year off right by joining the A1 Trading Telegram channels completely free. Links can be found in the description and in the live chat. Now, back to the show.
All right, and we are back with Kenzo. Hey, Kenzo, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, thanks, and you?
I'm doing well. It's good to have you back on the show. Kenzo, tell us what you're looking at here. We just had core PCE, pretty unmoving to the markets. But that being said, indices were kind of charging higher here this morning. We had some good earnings this week overall. Apple was up this morning as well off of the data that came out, or the earnings call that was happening yesterday. What are your thoughts on everything? Are you still you have any trades open?
At the moment, I'm actually not holding any trades, but I was on some few currency pairs like USD JPY on a buy there. I think maybe the market will be pushing up. But during the week, I was buying a US 30, a NASDAQ, and also SPX500. So it seems like DeepSeek stories or surprise seems to be trying to fade away. But yeah, for now, I was like out of the market waiting for PCE, even though there was nothing, no change on that. So now we're just waiting for the market to do its thing.
Yeah, no, and again, your comment about the DeepSeek stuff. Yeah, it was a freak out in the Monday trading, but very quickly buyers came in, just kind of showing the resiliency of this market. Very quickly finding an opportunity to buy the dip, and it does seem like we are, at least for now, looks very likely that we could be heading back to test those all-time highs. And just to for index traders. Like Kenzo and myself, we trade them pretty heavily. If we take a look at just a bit of a around the room kind of, if you will, we had Microsoft, which was a little bit of a disappointment on their earnings, but a lot of other companies really pulled through. Meta jumped higher. You also had Tesla have a pretty good overall report. And then yesterday with Apple trading after the bell higher by 4.2%. So bit of a strong push higher for Apple. And this is, of course, helping out the indices. You've got NASDAQ up 0.9%, 0.6%. So Kenzo, you mentioned that you're flat right now in terms of positioning. You don't have any open positions. Are you still bullish on the indices? And if so, where would you look for entries? What would kind of get you interested in taking positions? And are you looking at Dow, NASDAQ, S&P?
Yeah, on indices, I'm actually still bullish, but I think we are heading towards our highest level where we can get the resistance. Unfortunately, I can't share my screen. So, but I think we're heading towards that resistance on both of them. So, which means I have to wait a little bit because I'm already out. I can't enter where the market is. So, but with the DeepSeek actually coming in, it's a bit surprising because I don't know if maybe that sell-off it's done or everyone is still digesting that. But it seems like the companies are doing great. But I think I'm hoping for maybe a better sell-off because at the moment, I think we're not actually at the right area for me to say maybe I can jump in. I'm expecting to see enough sell-offs, even though I'm still expecting to see a continuation of a buy, but I'm still expecting to see maybe a smaller sell-off, especially once we reach that higher level. Unless if maybe we get the breakout. If the market breaks out of that, yes, I can change my mind and say, you know what, maybe investors don't really care much about DeepSeek, then I can continue.
Yeah, so no, that makes good sense. If you're looking at a breakout through those highs, that could be pretty big. If you get something like this, perhaps a breakout retest. That also seems like a pretty prevalent idea when we look at the Dow Jones, right? You've got a big level of resistance here at 45,000. If you get the breakout on Dow Jones, this one looks really strong here recently, but perhaps there's a little bit of a pullback that happens before then, right? We've had some pretty good runs on some of the indices, so would be completely normal to see some, downside pullbacks in the meantime. But of the three, Nas, S&P, and Dow Jones, which one do you have your eye on the most? Are you looking at Dow, or which one?
Mostly it's going to be Nasdaq.
Okay.
If I can go back on the DeepSeek thing or AI, since it's an open source, I think it's going to give other companies a break to join or to jump in because they can actually distill that and use it as soon as possible or with some lower budget. So it means if they do that, obviously tech companies, they will be going in on that AI. So most of them, it's not really a bad thing. Yes, it's a bad thing because before it seems like you need to have more to invest on AI, but now it seems much cheaper. It means everyone can actually jump in. So which means we're going to see enough companies participating in AI, and that will mean more sales, more activities, and I think Nasdaq will actually continue to go higher. I think maybe that is the reason why we don't really see those crazy sell-off. I already saw Microsoft added the DeepSeek R1 on their as a platform, so that shows that they can actually adapt very quick. So other companies, they will actually do that. I saw OpenAI. I think they made other model for free. Also Microsoft. So it shows us that the more we see that competition, mostly we're going to see most of those AI becoming way too cheaper. At the same time, it's good for other companies to join in, the ones which did not really have that budget. So which means now we're going to see enough activities, not only from one side, but actually from both sides. And that is actually good because we are going to see enough competition, and that it's good for Nasdaq. I think we're going to see some enough push. I think that is actually a good news in other words.
Yeah, I actually agree, Kenzo, because the other thing too is that many companies, at the expense of some of the chip companies, like for example Nvidia, et cetera, many of the other companies potentially benefit from the increased competition in the large language model and AI stuff, because again, competition. Yesterday, and I made the comparison on stream to like flat screen TVs. Many years ago, flat screen TVs were unaffordable. They were super expensive, so the average person couldn't have one. Now, everybody can have a flat screen. It's much more affordable to more people to have a TV, a nicer TV for less money. Those things used to cost like $1,200, $1,300, $1,500, and now you can get a decent flat screen for $300 or whatever. So there is some increased accessibility to a technology can actually create more demand for it because there's more affordability. And so then there's companies like, for example, Meta, which greatly benefit from more cheap AI accessibility. And then there's the argument that even the average company could benefit from increased access. And then there's companies like cybersecurity companies like Palo Alto, which has run off of this. So many companies actually loved that news in a weird way. More competition means better pricing for AI accessibility to the average company. And there's a bullish take to be had there that I think the market kind of figured out and started to rally back on. The other thing is, somebody was mentioning, a couple people in the chat talking about how with the NASDAQ, it's concentrated to just a couple big tech companies. And that is true. You have like Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, Nvidia, Google, Tesla, like those companies concentrated make up most of the NASDAQ's returns. But I do want to offer you one thing to think about. What is Google? What is Microsoft? These companies sound like one company, but what you may not realize about these companies, they are actually thousands of companies in one. Because what does Google do with all the money that it makes? What does Microsoft do with all the money that it makes? They buy competitors and upcoming technologies. These companies are conglomerate tech indices by themselves, in my opinion. Microsoft buys out many different studios that do specific work. They buy out and they build their own stuff. So, just something to think about. Yes, NASDAQ is concentrated to a couple names, but those couple names embody thousands of smaller companies that have been added into their books. Would you agree with that, Kenzo? Does that make sense?
Yes, actually, you can say that Max 7 by themselves, they can actually make NASDAQ. If we start to split what they own, only, let's say Microsoft, they have like more than maybe 20 companies under their brand. Alphabet, they also have more than 20 maybe, because it's YouTube, it's Google, it's Gmails, cloud, whatever. So all those are actually different enterprises, and they also have their targets. So which means they have their yearly earnings targets, but they all combine them and release as one, but they actually different companies inside. So if it's Microsoft, you're also talking about Xbox, you're talking about so many things. I can't count all of them. But when you check,
Activision was
only
another big
Xbox
purchase.
is way too bigger than some of the companies.
Yeah.
We have Office, there's so many. So obviously, we can't count all of them. So that's why there are $1 trillion companies. I think maybe 2 or 3 now. So yeah, they are big enough. That's why we say it's Magnificent 7. And mostly when they release or when we have the reports, mostly they are very important because we know that they are covering a lot of stuff. And mostly they are international companies. So it's not really about US only. We're talking about Europe, where actually everywhere. So yeah, I agree on that.
There's unprecedented concentration in just a couple company names in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, but they are also some of the most exceptional earnings producing machines that we've ever seen in market history. So, there's a bull and bear way of looking at things. You can say, oh, it's all concentrated, but well, it's concentrated, but these are way more profitable entities than in the 2001 tech bubble. Microsoft and Apple and those things are just ATMs. They just print money and they use that money to buy more companies. That's why they're getting so big. So anyways, I also wanted to just discuss here something as well. So this morning and yesterday, Kenzo, we had some interesting stuff on the economic data front. This new tab is called the U.S. Economic Heat Map. And all it does for us, Kenzo, is it shows us all of the key U.S. economic data to give us an idea of how things are looking across the economy. And what we see here is that if something is blue, it favors risk on. And if something is red, it favors more risk off. And what I like to look at is just overall, is there more blue or is there more red? If there's more blue, I'm going to continue to be more oriented towards risk on or bullish. And if it's more red, then more oriented towards gold and selling stocks and things like that. So the reason I point this out is take a look at GDP growth. So yesterday we had GDP that was a little bit weak, but today PCE numbers just updated here came in flat to expectations, so not a big change. So we wouldn't count that as a win or a loss here. But most of our indicators here continue to show bullish outlook for the U.S. economy. PMI is looking solid, right? So we also have retail sales a little bit of a miss, GDP a miss, but then inflation readings, core CPI last time around came in light. That was a really good thing for the market. PPI came in light compared to forecasts, and that's what we're looking at is the actual versus forecast here. We also had strong jobs data. Unemployment claims this week were also solid. So you have JOLTS also stronger than expected in recent reporting. So this is kind of your cheat sheet for economic data. But the reason I talk about this, Kenzo, is that, people are trying to figure out, hey, at what point do I start selling stocks or shorting indices? And to me, you'd have to wait for this to light up red. Would you agree? You'd be looking for like the economy to actually show signs of weakening rather than growing?
Yeah, I think I like the summary there, man. That is actually very good. I never saw that before, actually, in one page. That is very smart. So yeah, I think if everything changes there maybe to a red color, that's where maybe we can say something, because now, especially you can see maybe from interest rates conference, we see that actually inflation is not really going lower as we were expecting. So which means maybe the dollar is going to be stronger for a while, and those rate cuts, they're not going to come easy. And I think it's easier to see here that we don't really see much of the red colors along the way on the table. And I think that can change your decision very quick. So I think this is way, way too good, man. I think, yeah, this, whoever who is getting this, yeah, it's actually 4-5 steps ahead of everyone.
Kenzo, you have the Edge Finder, right? I think we sent it to you at one
Yeah,
point.
yes. I do.
Well, check it out when you get a chance. Play around with the U.S. economic heat map. We would definitely value your input on anything you had to say about how we can continue to make this tool better. But I'm really excited about this new heat map. Again, it does exactly what you just mentioned. It allows us to just wait for a change in color, a simple change in color, right? So even if somebody out there who is new to fundamentals is like, look, I don't know every single thing about services PMIs, but I do know that it's important to track the state of the economy. Simple color coding makes fundamentals approachable to the average person, and that's really the important factor here. Is we can just wait for this to be all blue or all red, and trade in the right direction with kind of the actual values that are coming out compared to forecasts. That's the cheat sheet here that makes this page so powerful, is just making it simple and very quickly. Hey, this is really blue right now. Let's not get overly bearish. There's no need to at this time. Once that changes, as you mentioned, if we start getting a scatter plot of red here, then we might need to be more cautious.
No, I think this is way too good. Whoever who doesn't really have this, especially this year, because if we check, as long as we have Trump in the office, we're going to have a lot of geopolitics, or let's say economic events and stuff like that, and they do matter. And whoever who is here, or maybe who's going to watch this video later on, I think it's way much better to get systems like this, because even if you can keep up with economic events, I don't think you will just keep up with everything, because this year is going to be worse. It's going to be good for those people who have the tools, but if you are not having everything like this, I think just do yourself a favor, because I think this is a summary. You have, like, as I said, like 10 steps ahead. By looking at this, you already understand what's really happening. By checking here, I can already see that, oh, the dollar is actually stronger before I even go on the chart. So which means this is going to be, I don't know, man, but this is way much better than everything that I've seen before. So yeah, I think especially this year, or let's say the whole term of Trump, we're going to have a lot of economic news. We just had events yesterday, last week. Everything matters. And if you don't really understand fundamentals, it might take time for you to understand the whole fundamental thing, because mostly people, they just go with the technical, which is good, but without fundamentals, sometimes it can be difficult with this type of economic events that we have these days. So I think this is a very nice tool to have. Yeah.
No, that's great, Kenzo. And again, thank you for the endowment. You guys heard it from Kenzo himself. You guys should pick up a copy. But actually, you made a really good point there that I want to just highlight. In a year like this, where you have Trump, where you have geopolitics, where you have a lot of drama in the articles that are coming out, I think that you want to double down and pay attention to this, right? We don't want to read headlines and make trading decisions off that. That is a dangerous, slippery slope. We want to stay focused on the data. We want to look at the economy. We want to look at the metrics that are actually coming in, not the headlines that get you all emotional. That is dangerous. So we want to focus on the economic data and stay true to it, not get caught up in, what did Trump just say to this person, or what did Putin just say? Like, that stuff is hard to trade off of. But economic data makes sense. It's the thing I keep coming back to, and the thing that you and I talk about so frequently is focus on what we can kind of just observe here, which is the economy and stats about it that give us a little bit more clear picture of what we want to do. Also, Xavier in the chat says, how much is the Edge Finder for South African? We do offer inclusive pricing for places where the US dollar is very expensive. If that is something that you're interested in, we offer lower discounts for people where the country has experienced high levels of inflation and the US dollar is very unaffordable. So if that is something you're interested in, send us a direct message on our website. We'll drop the link in the chat. We're currently running a major discount on the Edge Finder. It's 35% off right now, but send us a message, let us know, and we'll hook you up with that. Kenzo, that's a great point. I really think that, a lot of people would benefit from hearing that message. Don't get caught up in the headlines this year. Focus on what is working, which is, staying true to the economic reads and paying close attention to it. What do you think of gold right now? I'm curious your thoughts on this. Gold reaching an all-time high, 2806 at the time of us doing this live stream. What are your thoughts on this? Is this set to continue? Is this also geopolitical tension?
Yeah, I was expecting it maybe to reverse around that resistance, but it seems to be continuing. I think I don't really know if maybe this have direct impact with the tariffs that Trump is threatening all these countries. Maybe that has that, because it's actually geopolitics. I think maybe that can have that impact, because at the moment it seems like we're gonna have different countries that are going to, like, the tariffs from this year, they are going to increase. I don't really know directly how that impacts their economy, but it seems like it fuels gold to go even higher. Because if maybe we're gonna talk about tensions in Russia and Ukraine, I don't think they can fuel gold to push like that. But maybe that, because at the moment I can say gold, dollar, it's quite stronger. I wasn't expecting to see gold to fly like that, but it seems like there is something going on that it's actually pushing gold to go up. And what we know is we treat gold as a safe haven. So it means there's people who think it's better now to buy gold. Maybe they expect something not to go well in their countries or economy or whatever. So yeah, something's actually happening. Maybe it's tariffs, maybe it's geopolitics, but if maybe it's Russia and Ukraine, I don't think that will push gold up to that point at this time. But that can also have that effect, but not to that point where the market breaks that resistance.
Yeah, I agree. And I think if you start to see one thing we might want to watch for here is if you start to see something like this today, guys. I'm not saying today, but I mean, what I mean by that is if you see something like that occur, then what Kenzo's pointing out about the geopolitical, unrest, something really happening, I think that would change this from this kind of grindy uptrend that we've seen into a chaotic uptrend, which is a very strong signal of geopolitical uncertainty usually. So, gold is maybe telling us something, maybe warning under the surface of some concerns that market participants have. And I think it's totally valid. I mean, whether you like or dislike Trump, we know that he is very quick to make big judgment calls. And we saw recently what he did with Colombia, with the threats of tariffs. Of course, Colombia quickly kind of backed down and bent the knee to Trump, if you will. But that is just a prelude to what I think we're going to see in the next few years. Is Trump is really pushing for pro-American policies that can cause some, shoulder rubbing, if you will, with other countries that don't completely comply with it. So, that causes some geopolitical concerns. And I think that's a valid reason why a lot of people might be just having some exposure to gold as a bit of a hedge, as a bit of an offset to what could be coming. So we'll see. But overall, yeah, gold breaking to new highs, making history as we speak on the stream today so far. Bitcoin, other one to talk about, Kenzo. It's been really choppy recently, but do you still like Bitcoin? Are you looking for breakouts here? And do you trade? I forgot. Do you trade actively Bitcoin ever, or do you mostly just hold it passively?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't really trade it like actively. I just try to hold.
Yeah,
But not really Bitcoin because it's already expensive. So I go with the other ones, which seems to be correlating with Bitcoin. But at the moment, it seems like we're gonna have this ranging structure for a while now. Because if you can go back a little bit, we had that ranging structure for a while before we had that breakout.
yep,
Yes, yeah, that one. So maybe if you check, maybe it's more than 6 months. So maybe we might have the same thing there. That might actually, it might repeat the same movement. We might have the same ranging structure. It's
sure,
possible because I thought maybe when Trump said he's going to go easy on cryptos and stuff like that, I thought maybe he's going to endorse maybe Bitcoin, but he created his own coin, official Trump or something. So if it was like that, I think maybe Bitcoin was going to go aggressive. But
yep,
now I don't think maybe we're going to see much of a push, but I don't really see any negative move from that. Maybe along the way, we might see some sell-offs and stuff like that. But in an overall move or in a long term, I'm still bullish. But I will just still buy the other ones, the smaller ones. This one is already quite expensive.
yeah. And again, here's like, for example, Dogecoin. Just as I was mentioning this earlier, Kenzo. Dogecoin to me is like an index for the altcoins, right? So you really know it's altcoin season when Dogecoin is doing really well. Recently, it's been pulling back here at least a little bit. Well, a lot of it. It's just a very volatile asset, 30% down from the highs. But yeah, Dogecoin, Ethereum, some of these other ones may be up next. I mean, if you're going to see a crypto continuation, typically Bitcoin starts the rally, and then the other ones kind of can actually move higher because they have higher risk attached to them, so they move a lot more aggressively. So really interesting stuff just to keep an eye on that. Kenzo, I want to thank you as always for coming on the show here. Kenzo comes every single week and shares some fundamental knowledge with our viewers. Kenzo, I really appreciate you being here. And everybody who's watching, make sure, do us a big favor on the A1 Trading team. Help us out by supporting our guests. So Kenzo has his own YouTube channel. If you guys could take a second to make sure to go subscribe, you can search him up on YouTube, do it on your phone or whatever. Search up Extra Hot Forex and make sure to hit that subscribe button and let him know that you enjoyed his segment on the stream. As always, Kenzo, thank you very much for coming on, and we will see you next week.
Thank you very much, man, and also your viewers.
All right. See you, Kenzo. Kenzo is a crowd favorite, guys, and for good reason. He's very knowledgeable, very nice guy, and I always appreciate him coming on the show and sharing some wisdom with us. Kenzo has been, I've said this before, but he's been one of the most consistently stable on the indices traders that I've seen. He's been very, very bullish for a long time. And actually, he praised us on the US economic heat map. He said he really liked that. But part of it was from my conversations with Kenzo. I was like, look, Kenzo and I are talking about this. We're trying to weigh the economy together. We need something to see it. We need something to look at to show us, is this economy looking good? By the way, we just added the UK. If you trade the pound or you trade the FTSE, we just added the UK economic heat map, and get ready. We've got more coming. We got the EU economic heat map coming. We've got Japan's economic heat map coming. We are going to build everything. And if you shorted the Edge Finder right now, you'd be an absolute moron, because this thing's just going to get better and better. And that's my promise to everybody watching this stream. And for those of you who already have the Edge Finder, you should be excited like I am, because this thing is about to take off. If there's one thing I can guarantee in the financial markets is that our tools are never going to stop improving as long as I'm running the ship. So with that said, I do also want to mention something. We had several people come on the website. And I want to do this again in case you missed this opportunity, because the Edgefinder sale is ending, but we are going to do something that we do not usually do. Right now, we're doing 35% off on the Edgefinder for those who are interested in getting a copy. But we just made a mention because several people came on our site asking about the US dollar and how expensive it is for their country. If you're somebody in a place where the US dollar is very expensive, but you still want the Edgefinder, we do offer some inclusive pricing to places where the dollar is incredibly expensive. If you are somebody that still wants the Edgefinder, but simply cannot afford it due to currency stuff, send us a direct message. I've just informed my team that we're going to do this. We're going to offer some extra discounts to those people in places that want the Edgefinder, but simply can't afford it due to the strength of the dollar recently. If that's something that you're interested in, drop a message to us right now. I've got 3 people on the line who will help you to get access to the Edgefinder. We'll make some exceptions to get it to lower prices for people who are in places where it is very expensive. Do not miss the opportunity to pick up a copy of the Edgefinder. It's going to be a great year. Edgefinder's IPO, it's privately owned, but we are rocket shipping higher on the Edgefinder at this very moment. We've got more stuff than ever coming this year. Edgefinder is about to be on par with the best softwares in the industry, if I have anything to say about it. Anyways, take advantage. Edgefinder currently major discounts. If you're in a place where the dollar is expensive, drop us a message right now and we'll hook you up with some extra special discounts. Okay, guys, up next, we got Forex James taking over the show. He's going to be taking a look at some currency pairs and other charts, as always, as he does, and giving you guys more fundamental and technical analysis at this time. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after thanking our sponsors to the show.
Trading is hard, but trading by yourself is even harder. This year is your year to join a trading community. The A1 Trading VIP Discord community is made up of thousands of traders around the world committed to helping you learn and to find better trade setups. Inside of the Discord, you can browse Trader Nick, Frank, and Ivan's trades on all things Forex, stocks, options, and ETFs. You also get exclusive access to Ivan's live coaching webinars, where you can learn from a seasoned professional in the industry and even ask questions during the webinar. We also have chat rooms filled with traders who share their thoughts and analysis daily. It's a space for both veteran and new traders alike to come together over their love of markets. Want to take it a step further? Upgrade to Pulver Alerts, where veteran money manager Chris Pulver shares his daily options and stock positions. All things A1 trading are happening in the VIP Discord. Start your new year off on the right foot and join today.
Hello. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all having a good end to the week. Yeah, we've got a pretty quiet day today. We just had PCE for the US, which was pretty flat. Actually, wasn't very impressive in terms of movement. US dollar continues to climb higher after rejecting the 107 area. It's actually 107.1, roughly, give or take. So my thesis on US dollar bullishness continues. I'm not really concerned at the moment. I think it's quite reasonable to expect 110 to get tested again. 110 is a big psychological level. And given the current economics and the way the US dollar is going, I think it's quite a reasonable target to have. The yen is slowing down again, as expected. We've discussed the yen quite a lot this week. And I've been saying, I just don't know if this move is sustainable. Because if we look on just a wider scope on just technicals, it is just a lower high. We've not broken anything. It's not really any sort of significant move. We saw some sort of bullish pressure really come from the Bank of Japan rate hike. But, you know, it's not looking like they're going to hike rates again. It's actually projected they're going to hold rates on the next meeting. So I am still more of a bear on the yen for now. Of course, we do have quite a high likelihood of an intervention coming. So that's another factor that could be beneficial. Lauder, Royal Trades, Lee, Bashi. Hello, guys. Good to see you all again for some of you. The pound and the euro continuing to decline, which is nice. I took a very small position on euro dollar today. I think I made about £10, so that's my lunch paid for. Also, actually, I'm lying. I'm not in this position, which is a shame. I sent it out to my Discord. It was a signal, but I couldn't take it because I was moving capital to a different broker. So I'm sat on the sidelines watching this one go. But so far, so good. We entered very typical entry. If you guys watch the way I trade at all, you'll know that this is a very nice level of structure through here. We had the break, entered short on the retest, and now we're just sitting watching it come to the downside as we see continued pressure on dollar crosses. We did reduce the stop loss by 50% ahead of FOMC just to be safe, so all good there. Not really too much in terms of new positions. The Nasdaq trade I showed yesterday was stopped out, unfortunately. Dollar Swiss is continuing to run, and we do have a new position over here, which I am not going to tell you what it is because it's still at entry. You will have to pay me for that information. Capitalism. Gold continuing to climb higher here, currently at all-time highs, actually, which is beautiful. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit upset that I've missed this whole run, but I just couldn't find a valid entry. So I'll forgive myself a little bit, but it's quite sad to see. We can have a look at dollar ZAR for sure. Can we get Mamba FX on here? I'm sure that would be quite a good traffic driver for the stream, actually. So dollar ZAR, I don't trade this this pair actually, but we can have a look. I was short for a very quick period of time. Hold on, let me just pull up the Edge Finder. I need to see if there's anything on there regarding this. Let's see. Excuse me. I don't see dollar ZAR on here. Oh, it is. So we're getting a bullish reading on dollar ZAR with a +5. So it's just up from neutral. So it's nothing overwhelming, but it does help to give us a bias. The daily looks very bullish, actually. So we've got very typical uptrend here. Got the low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher high, higher high. So the trend is pretty much perfect. Actually, you couldn't really ask for much of a cleaner trend to the upside. So I would be looking for a continuation. In terms of an entry, let's just see. The H4 looks a little bit weak here. We are seeing some wicks to the upside. So let's... Yeah, it's not really a fib that works here. I would be looking to go long, possibly just on the next pullback, wherever that may be. Just buy within this previous low area, somewhere along here. Stop loss below the previous H4 low at 18.31, and let it run possibly just back to the previous high for a 1 to 2.8 at 19.19. I think that looks like a pretty solid trade. Again, it's not something I trade often, in fact, ever. So I don't really know the behavior of the market. But yeah, just based on what I see, this looks fine. It's okay, James. Short is massive move down, coming to the downside. Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be upset about that, to be honest. That is true, Ballout. We do. It's good to disagree and agree on things. That's why trading floors are very diverse. Sean, we're not sticking with that name. We already established this. Yeah, a weak pound is fine in my view. It's still overpriced from where it should be. This country is an absolute mess. So I'm happy to see it continue to fall. So yeah, I think in terms of pound crosses, specifically pound dollar, we're pretty much set to continue down. The fear around the pound seems to have decreased a little bit. I actually got a headline this morning from Bloomberg saying investors or traders are now pricing in an extra rate cut. I think it was an extra rate cut. I can't remember what it was. Just let me double check so I don't give you false information. Traders have also added to their bets for Bank of England rate cuts this year, now fully pricing in 3/4 point reductions in 2025. So that is traders expecting 3 25 basis point cuts by the Bank of England. So that's something to keep in mind. So that will be adding some pressure onto the pound. However, overall, it's actually quite a positive sign for long-term economic recovery. But I'm still not very happy with it. Oh, you have family in Kent? Kent's lovely, actually. Yeah, I like Kent. But at least they're not in... That's I'm not going to say. But there's certain places in the UK where you don't want to go. So let's move on. Euro-yen shorts are still valid, in my opinion. Even though I'm pretty bearish on the yen, I wouldn't really want to go long. And to be honest, with the likelihood of an intervention, a little gamble on euro-yen, in my opinion, might come at some point. Very low risk, of course, isn't, as always, not financial advice. This isn't a signal. However, if we can see some sort of climb up, and we can also see dollar yen hit 160 or slightly above 162, 163, I might go in for a little bit of a gamble trade and just see if I can catch an intervention. But again, let me just clarify that is just a gamble. I don't endorse that type of behavior. James, the only way the UK can be saved is by Bruv movement and Andrew Tate. Oh, Bruv movement. Yeah, I mean, Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate just got a $2.1 million tax bill from HMRC. So I'm not sure really how that would go. I think the only situation I would actually like them to come here is if they would abolish HMRC and restructure. Because HMRC is just robbery. For anyone who doesn't know, HMRC is the IRS, but for the UK, it's the tax man. Gold is on my last nerve. Yeah, gold is a painful one to watch at the minute, especially if you're not in it. Thoughts on dollar Swiss? Dollar Swiss is completely fine. I am more than happy to say that it's going to continue to the upside. We're currently in longs, just around break even. But yeah, this one's positioned for the long term. We're expecting to hold this one sort of to the end of Q1, start of Q2. Looking for a break of this pretty heavy resistance that we're at, this daily, weekly level, just here. So we're looking for a break above there and then a continuation onto the next level. But again, I'm staying very bullish on the US dollar, at least for now. So I think that trade to the upside definitely holds some weight. It's just a case of patience. South of UK, yeah, I used to live in the south. It's a nightmare. I don't think anyone's voting, bro. I mean, people really in favor for reform, and even they couldn't get in. I don't think the Tate brothers realize how difficult it is to actually get into parliament. It's not a case of making a party and getting votes. It's a little bit more complicated than that. But anyway. Oh, that's true, Sean. Conor McGregor in Ireland and the Tates in the UK. Oh my God. I think it'd be fun to watch from a distance. As soon as I move, that would be interesting. Birmingham, yeah. James, talk about how silver is probably one of the best investments to come. Yeah, well, I do agree. And I'm going to be honest, this isn't from me. This is from my commodities guy to lead traders. But he is currently positioned he's positioned in silver for the next 5 or 10 years. He's wanting it, or he's expecting it to go to around about 55. And then surpassing that as well. So I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what his theory is. I think it's something to do with production and it's just undervalued, specifically comparing it to gold. So from an industrial perspective, I think he's completely right. However, I'm not sure really if I'd want to get into silver. Let me just check. Actually, let's see how the month. This is the weekly. Let's check the monthly time frame. Yes, it just doesn't seem very appealing. So yeah, if you bought it silver back in 2012, you would have broken even October last year. I don't know. It seems a little bit too much of a long hold for me. I'm not interested really. But yeah, I think on the surface value, I think silver's got potential. Yeah, so I think metals are pretty much again set to continue to the upside really, regardless of short-term downsides and volatility. I think yeah, long-term definitely upside. Yeah, Bashi, just be careful doing that. Okay, right. Let's. Oops, not that. We need this button. Let's see. What do we have? Oil. I've been watching oil quite closely recently, just considering a long position. I just can't do it. I can't get myself to pull the trigger right now. This level looks so tempting and it looks really strong. However, I'm also eyeing the next support down here at sort of 66.5. And just considering the weight that Trump's putting on oil, I'm on the sidelines because I've been saying this quite a lot. So again, I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but oil to me actually does seem quite bullish on the surface value or the face value of things right now, because we've got OPEC production cuts. We've also got something to do with China. I can't remember what it was actually this time, but oil doesn't seem like a bad buy. The issue is obviously if Trump wants OPEC to reduce prices and he's going to drill, it's not necessarily something I want to buy into. And I think the markets are also a little bit fearful or a little bit concerned. So yeah, it's more a case of just waiting. Like if this support could hold up, if we could have a nice daily close, perfect. I might look to buy, low risk, see how it goes. But at the moment, I just don't have enough confirmation to buy off this level. Thoughts on NASDAQ? Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, I think NASDAQ's pretty clear to the upside, really. I've got some concerns. Let me just double check my research here. I've got some concerns regarding the valuations, but I can't remember if that's for the S&P. No, it wasn't. It was for NASDAQ. So high valuations leave tech stocks vulnerable to any Fed hawkishness or weak earnings from semiconductor names. Profit taken by hedge funds adds pressure. So yeah, there's that. But then there's also, yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I've had that similar research for the past six or 7 months. So I'm just kind of ignoring it at this point until I actually see some reason to sell. So until I've got more of a reason and the data starts reflecting a short NASDAQ idea, I stay on this, continue to the upside, break this resistance, retest, and then continue to the upside. And then I'll buy on this retest. Until then, there's nothing here. I don't want to buy into this daily resistance level. So I'm sitting flat on NASDAQ until then. I'm not sure when I agreed to that, Bashi, but that's fine. You can jump in the suitcase if you want. I'll go at risk of human trafficking. That's fine. Oil is a little bit complicated with Trump. Yeah, that's exactly it. Thing is, I'm not technically unemployed. That's the annoying part. Because obviously I'm linked to elite traders. If I wasn't linked to elite traders, oh man, the fraud that would be going on would be crazy. I'm joking. Don't ever do tax fraud or benefits fraud. That should go without saying. Terrible. Anyway, DAX. I'd love to get into the DAX as well. I think it's currently in a pretty prime situation to buy. Not a good price level, really. it's more a case of just waiting for some sort of pullback, especially looking at the ECB cuts, which I think we're going to have more cuts coming. It's not looking good, really, which is obviously beneficial for the DAX. So I'm quite happy to get in. It's now just, when and where. So I'd love to see this pullback, a 50% move, and then I can get in and start buying. But until then, again, there's nothing to do. Let's see, what else is there to go over? I don't think there's too much. I'm still looking at euro dollar to parity. So I've been talking about parity for a long time, but I was a little bit hesitant for a while, or I'd say for the past 2 weeks, I've been a little bit hesitant about parity. However, it seems like the market isn't really giving up. So we had a very small pullback, really. I mean, it felt quite large at the time, but it really wasn't. And obviously we had the ECB press conference that, in my opinion, was quite neutral, leaning towards the dovish side. And we had the Fed that sounded quite neutral, but hawkish. So yeah, it does make me want to keep shorting euro dollar. But yeah, it's more of a strategic option now. It's like, when and how do I execute these shorts while avoiding this short-term volatility? So if you look here on the H1, it's pretty nasty, really. It's not the clean downtrend that we've been seeing for the past 3 months. So yes, it's more of a strategic positioning now, rather than, am I buying, am I selling? Yes, we've looked at oil. I can go back to oil in a little bit, though, if we run out of other things to talk about. Parity is coming if the DXY is going up. Yeah, that's the thing. But I do still expect parity, but again, as I said, it is more a case of when. So I was expecting it more towards the end of Q1, which is definitely still possible, but I'm not going to hold that with too much weight anymore. Yeah, Q2 seems likely. I do agree with that one. So we'll see. Again, I think Eurodollar shorts still are probably the best option in terms of just easy money. It's been it's been easy free money for the past coming up on 4 months. We've had a full quarter to just short Eurodollar. It's all you've had to do to make money in the markets. Obviously, I know that's easier said than done, especially in hindsight. I get it. But I don't see the gravy train has ended yet. So you will continue to see me on those positions. Pound Australian. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think we're definitely due a pullback at some point here. Let me just change these timeframes. So yeah, I would suggest that there is some sort of pullback coming. I mean, we looked at this one yesterday. So you've got really two options I would consider. So you've got the 50% pullback or the fib retracement here that lines up almost, well, I guess it does line up with previous structure. Or you could see a full sort of correction down into this area. So these are the two zones where I'd be considering going long. Which one? You'd have to really wait to see what type of reaction you get. So if it was this level, I would expect, or I would want to see a break in between the 50% and the 618. I'd want to see a bullish engulfing candle close, and that would be enough for me to take a trade. And then obviously if we don't get that and we continue down, we'd want to see the similar thing. So tap into this area somehow. And then again, some sort of bullish confirmation to keep it simple. Who in here remembers the time Nick brought on some trading named Lynn? Something that triples her account every day. I don't know. That might have been slightly before my time or when I was away. I'm not sure. Do you mean Kathy Lynn? That's the only Lynn I can think of. I don't know any other Lynns in this industry. Gold on fire. NFP next week. Okay, hold on. Let me do this one by one. Let me first go to gold. Then we can go to euro pound. Then we can discuss NFP. Yeah, gold is running. I mean, any sellers in this market are having a nightmare. They're having an awful end to their week. So I'm glad I'm not one of those people. It does look very extended though, especially on this H4. So I would like to see a continuation a little bit higher and then a pullback into this level, retest, and then continue. This would be the optimal place for me to start looking to buy gold. And that's kind of the only situation where I would be interested. If we fail to hold above this level and we continue to sort of range and you know, mess around here, then yeah, there's nothing there for me. The edge finder is, I think it's actually, let me just double check before I start talking. Yeah, it's neutral, which is interesting. I think yesterday it had a score of 4, which is still neutral but slightly positive, whereas now it's just basically completely neutral. So yeah, that kind of puts me off a little bit really going into gold, but we'll have to keep an eye out. So euro pound shorts, it's interesting you brought that up because I was in shorts and it was probably the most difficult trade I've had in a long time. So I was selling, this is the daily time frame. So I was on this time, sorry, in this market on the 30-minute time frame, selling all of this. And on the 30 minutes, you can imagine it was a bit rough. But, you know, the idea was right in the end. We did have the reversion. So I actually took profits on this trade. However, in terms of going forwards, I would say shorts probably are the easiest way to go forwards, really. The market tends to be very choppy, but still lean to the downside. So if we look on this daily, it looks awful. The price action is horrible, in my opinion. It's very difficult to trade, but it's slowly edging lower. So I would be happy to continue shorts, but getting into the market can be very, very difficult. Again, because it doesn't really respect technical levels very well. It can just completely fly and then completely reverse very quickly. Like here, fly, reverse. Down here, it just drops and then reverses or corrects. So yeah, it's a difficult one. It's definitely not my favorite for swing trading anyway. Okay, so NFP. Let me find my calendar. Let's see what the projections are or the forecast. I'm not sure if they will have them yet. So Friday, no, there's no forecast yet. So what we can do actually is look on the edge finder. Let's see what the NFP data is looking like. Labor market, NFP. So we've got, it's rising. So we went from, came out at 12K, was revised to 36, 227K, 256K. I'd be surprised if we, yeah, I think 250 to 260 would be within my range. But again, I'm working off that blind. You know, I'm a bit of a degenerate retail trader, so don't really stick to that until you get the professional forecasts out. But I would, yeah, generally speaking, I'd expect NFP to be quite positive. I think it would be in line with the other data we've got, really. Ball out, you're close. In fact, no, you're not close. I don't have a car. I'm that frugal. I just don't have a car. I'm just not interested. I've been looking at getting a motorbike because I think they're really cool. But yeah, I've just got no interest in cars or sports. I'm probably the least manly man you'll ever meet. I like to eat sushi. I like motorbikes and I like money, and that's about it. Oh, I quite like League of Legends as well. As of today, the value of gold stockpiles held in the COMEX vaults was 85 billion. Most hedging to the US to avoid tariffs, even though gold is a reserve asset. Okay. Vespa? No, not a Vespa. Yeah, I hop on my Vespa to go to the shops. No, seriously, I don't need a car. I Uber everywhere. If there's no Uber, then I probably won't be going there anyway because I only really travel to cities. But yeah, I don't need a car, and it's in my opinion. Obviously, we all know it's a liability, so it's just not something I'm willing to spend money on at the minute. Oh, the Arcane thing on Netflix. I watched 2 minutes of that episode and turned it off. I've got to say, TikTok has fried my attention span. I was talking about this with Nick yesterday on stream, actually. I hate to say it, but I am one of those people. I'm half joking, but yeah, I'm not someone that can sit and watch things really. I have to be doing something else. Whether it's TikTok or ADHD, I'll never know. You'll have to own a car someday. No, I don't think I will. I don't want children. Children are one of the big reasons you need a car. I don't want kids, don't want a car. I'm happy with, as long as I've got a computer or laptop, I've got Wi-Fi and some fried chicken or some sushi. I'm good to go. I'm completely happy. I'll stay there forever. And some nice weather. That'll be okay as well. Smart car. Yeah. No, I'm okay. I'd rather just have a go-kart. Anyway, we keep getting off track, guys. This isn't good for other people that come here to talk about trading and learn about trading. English monk. Yeah, I also I can barely watch a Netflix show. I definitely couldn't sit for hours and meditate. I am I'm unofficially 19, but my passport says I'm 26. I'm still young. Why, Royal Trades? How old are you? You sound like a man of wisdom. Oh, Ball Out saying the same thing. Well, am I just too young to, as my frontal lopex or whatever it's called, my frontal cortex? You know, that thing in your head that develops at 25. Maybe mine's a bit delayed. Yes, I watched The Industry was really good. I watched Dumb Money the day before yesterday. So that was okay. No, yeah, I think The Big Short's still probably my favorite. Industry was really good though as well. It feels expensive in the UK. It is. I've watched Squid Game. Squid Game is good. Anyway, yeah, thoughts about GU. Yeah, let's keep it trading related a little bit. GU, actually, I've got it here. So I'm still short GU. I'm looking for 1.2. I mean, we've been talking about, this is the institutional level. This is where a lot of the reports are seeming to expect pound dollar to go to in short term. So that's where I've set my take profit. We'll see. We might come just short. Again, you know, it depends on the fundamentals, but I might start looking to actually book profits around 1.21. But in terms of, yeah, my view is just bearish, to be honest. I don't have any reason to really doubt that. The stop loss is quite tight at the minute, so that's a little bit of a concern on this trade. So we might end up getting wicked out at some point if we have news or something happens to, you know, the trade could be taken out. But if it is, I'll just continue to go short. Same thing with euro dollar. It's just sell, in my opinion. 10 kids, no. Yeah, I do, Shells, I'm sorry. 10 kids is not the life for me. I can barely deal with myself. And a Bentley, no, it's not the life for me. I like the idea of that type of life, you know, the nice house, Bentley, nice child in private school with ski trips. But to be honest, nah, don't care about that. So you're expecting 1.236. Your target's very low. Sorry, very high relative to mine. I think within sort of today, I would expect this to get hit the level you said. I think that's quite reasonable, actually. So my main focus at the minute is just if we break this low, because at the minute we're kind of stuck in a range on pound dollar. If we can break the previous lows and close below, I think then we're pretty much set to continue down, and that will allow me to trail stops a little bit more, maybe even move it to break even. Because at the minute, it is just whipping up and down. There's nothing to do. No way I can manage it. This markets always sell off before NFP, then recovers. Well, maybe it depends what the expectation is. I think I play double base, so rarely play games. Lee, you sound very sophisticated. The market sells off since James talks about kids and responsibilities. I'll take that as not an insult. Euro continuing to climb lower. Pound's also lower. Yen's lower. Oh, actually, sorry, the markets haven't even actually opened yet, have they? Oh, data's delayed. Sorry, they have. I'm talking nonsense. Yeah, I'm to be honest, it's very difficult for me, to be honest, to come here and give you guys meaningful analysis, because my ideas have been the same for the past 3-4 months. It's just buy the dollar, because I'm not really looking at much else, to be honest. So I do apologize if I'm sounding very repetitive recently, but I'd rather be honest with you than try and give you all bad ideas and trade setups that I don't like. Okay. So let's see what else is going on. Dollar Swiss has been a real pain. It went to drawdown very quickly. It had no problem giving me some drawdown, but coming back to entry, it's just not having it. It seems to be taking its sweet time. And this is dollar yen. Yeah, I'd quite like to go long dollar yen, actually. I think I would wait for possibly another test into the support level. We know already that the London Stock Exchange is already... Yeah, the London Stock Exchange is long on dollar yen, and MUFG have a sell limit at 160. So I've already got my idea. I want to go long into 160. Then I might take profits and wait, as I already said earlier, wait and see how an intervention goes. So yeah, I'd be looking possibly to just enter something along these lines. Seeing as the yen's been pretty dominant this week, but the currency strength seems to indicate that that's coming to an end, or it's at least slowing down today. So possibly on Monday, I might look to execute a long position and just see. How many assets do you trade? Because you seem to focus on a few. Yeah, well, I don't trade much. My variety is very limited. So I stick to pound dollar, euro dollar, a little bit of gold, S&P, NASDAQ. That's kind of it, to be honest. I used to basically trade everything. So if you go back and watch my segments from earlier last year, you'll see I'm quite happy to talk about basically everything. But I found my time was getting stretched too much, and my results were getting penalized because I had attention on so many different things. So I really narrowed it down, and now I only focus really on what's going on with the dollar, the euro, and the pound. And that gives me enough diversity, really. Does the Edge Finder show what economic factors drive bias? Yes, it does. I'm going to have to reopen it. I think I closed it annoyingly. Give me a second. Yeah, the Edge Finder is really good to just find your idea and to filter out what's good. Well, what's a potentially good idea, what's potentially bad idea. So, for example, if price action looks bearish and you want to go long, you can always just check the Edge Finder. It might actually give you a different idea. So let's just take dollar CAD, for example. So yeah, you can see it shows everything that it accounts for. So for example, you can go and look at these data points in more view. If you want to view more of the COT data and have a deeper look, you can go over to sentiment and positioning. You can go and look at what COT's been doing for the past couple of weeks. So yeah, you get a full view really of what's going on. Any thoughts on why NASDAQ is up and US 30 is going short? I'll be honest, I've got no idea about US 30. I'm not sure what the news is there. Although I would suspect it's probably just the way New York opened, or New York has opened. NASDAQ, I would assume is up because we had such a large spike down. Obviously, this was, DeepSeek, whatever you want to call it. I think it was DeepSeek that caused that. I think anyway. So yeah, we had a very large market gap here. So I think the market was basically just racing to fill that, which we've done. Obviously, New York opened bullish on the NASDAQ. So I think it's basically just that. I wouldn't look into small candle moves too much unless you're a scalper. Is it just me that thinks price action is garbage since Donald Trump joined? Yeah, price action's been a little bit rough. Just because we've had so many swings. I mean, when Trump was first sort of coming in, the dollar was doing well. Again, it was just buy dollar season. The tariffs were really boosting it and weighing down the euro and the pound and the Canadian dollar. So it's pretty simple. And then we didn't hear anything really about tariffs for a while, causing some uncertainties. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a tricky one, actually. Friday, usual slow day, sticking to EJ, GJ sells. UJ, I'm struggling, both potentially being strong. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the yen is in a great spot in terms of being able to see where it's going to go. I still think yen down, but again, I could be completely wrong. Sometimes a tough day trade a diff asset as boredom and opportunity. Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's good to have a scope on the markets as a whole. So as you said, if we have, euro dollar's having a bad time, or it's just ranging, or it's going the opposite way you need, you can always just flick over to a different asset. But you don't want to be a jack of all trades. You want to be a master of like a handful that ideally would be uncorrelated, so you're able to adapt to different conditions and different things, rather than it being, oh no, what's going on with euro dollar? I'm in shorts. I don't know what to do. I can't trade anything else. And then you're stuck. I think that's what is a big downfall for a lot of traders, actually, is they fall into that narrative of one asset, one trade, one day, and you're really limiting yourself there. But anyway, pound dollar's moving down, almost broken, but we do have 3 more hours, so we'll see if this is just teasing me or if this is going to be a full break. But that's nice. Seeing what else there is. New Zealand US dollar, my long position was stopped out on this, which is completely fine. I was expecting to get stopped out, actually. I made a video about this on my channel. So I took a New Zealand US dollar long position just to offset some of my dollar risk. So I'm obviously dollar Swiss long and pound dollar short. We had FOMC coming at the time. So I was like, okay, if the dollar does dump, these 2 positions are going to lose. How can I at least get some profit or reduce that risk? So I took a New Zealand dollar long, and HSBC was also in the same trade. So I just copied their move. And of course, I come out on top and they lose. Obviously. I'm kind of joking, but actually it's not. It's quite true. Thoughts on dollar CAD swings? I think dollar CAD isn't really a good one, to be quite honest. Oh wait, actually, I might be lying. So yeah, dollar CAD's been really stuck recently within this range. It's been a very difficult, really, to do anything, especially as a swing trader. But oil is now declining. I mean, obviously, with oil's not doing too well at all. US dollar seems to be gaining some of its strength back. So I think US dollar CAD longs might be coming back into play a little bit. I don't like where price is right now, so I'm not going to buy it, but I think the potential is back, to be honest, or at least coming back. Not quite yet, though. One asset, one day, one trade can give you 4 to 5%. It can also give you more. It can also give you less. It's a very broad statement to make. Sir, don't you see gold's overbought? Is it right time to take a position long? No. Well, it's a bit late to start looking for long positions, I think. USD CAD is awful. Yeah. UC stuck in a range. It's slightly broken the range, but yeah, it's not convincing enough for me to be interested just yet. Gold stopped you out. Were you long on gold? I've got to say, if I was long gold and got stopped out before this move, I'd be really upset. I think my keyboard would be across the room. I'm joking. We don't advocate emotional trading. Too late to go long. Best thing you do is build sells for max 1% risk. I think we are due a pullback on gold, but that's very dangerous talk. We were always due a pullback at some point. So it's not something I'm going to take action on. I think the only thing I can do here is just wait for a pullback and then start looking to go long potentially. Yes, I still trade DCA. I've not had a good DCA trade in a while though. I closed out euro pound and euro dollar 2 days ago. But yeah, I've not really had any recent things to show off, to be honest. I was long, but my stop loss was tight in profit. That's really unfortunate, but at least you made profit. Yeah, the Cozy Coins, the NASDAQ position was stopped out, unfortunately. It was really sad. It got stopped out and immediately reversed. So we were long. Hold on, let me just see. It was the H1. Yeah, we were long here. So I think we took the buy. We bought somewhere here, and our stop loss was there. So this was the trade. And I've got to say, I understand why a lot of people say stop hunts exist because, man, that's ridiculous. Although in hindsight, the stop loss probably should have been at these wicks. But, it is what it is. It's only a small loss. 2024 taught us not to short gold. Yeah, short gold is a brave move, in my opinion. Gold on the 1 minute is scary but fun. Again, it's a brave move. Yeah, okay. Yeah, gold is easy to blow your account. The thing is, a lot of traders start off on currencies and then they'll move to gold and they'll not realize the pricing difference in pips. So, for example, if you trade 0.1 or a 0.01 on something like euro dollar and then go and do the same thing on gold, your account, especially if it's a small account, it's going to get a little bit out of hand. Alex, you shorted gold in 2011. Crazy. I think I was just starting high school then, roughly. Yeah, around that time, I think. Scaling on gold in for the weak heart. Yeah, I saw someone dollar cost average short gold the other day on Twitter, and oh my god, my heart was going manic for them on their behalf. I was like, oh god, that's very risky. I think they actually made profits on it somehow, but yeah, that was tough to watch. I was long when it reached 1900 for the first time. Wow, good stuff. Also, gold can move very fast in 1 minute, so it's mega tricky. Yeah. Just started elementary school in 2011. What age is elementary school? Because we've got in the UK we have two schools. You've got primary school and secondary school. Whereas in the US it sounds a little bit different. I think you've got like three, don't you? You've got like elementary, middle, and then secondary. I think something like that, which I don't really understand. There's a lot of moving around, so just chill. I remember when I was long gold at 1980, and that was the last time we saw it below 2000. Yeah, would have been nice to hold that. I think the last gold trade I had was when was it? Hold on. I can't remember actually. I think it was during this period. Because I know me and Nick were both in gold at the same time. And I sent him an article. It was one of the banks that said gold to hit 3,000 by early 2025 or something. But yeah, I can't remember exactly when it was. Elementary's like primary school. Yeah, I think that is right, Shoals. I think it's something like that. US is 6 to 11 is elementary, 12 to 14 is middle, 15 to 18 is high school. So you go to middle school for 2 years. Sounds a little bit pointless. Is it like a completely separate school with just one age group in it? Sounds crazy. Anyway, moving on. Again, we're getting sidetracked. I apologize. No, we don't have middle school. Actually, Bashi, we do. There are a couple of schools that do middle schools in the UK, but it's quite rare. I had a family member that did primary school, middle school, high school. Dollars continuing to move higher, which is good. I don't see much at the moment, though. Australian dollar CAD, got Australian dollar yen, ADNZD. There is someone short actually on Australian dollar New Zealand. I can't remember who it is. It might be HSBC. I can't remember. It might have been London Stock Exchange. This one of the institutions, however, is pretty bearish on this one, which I'm not sure really I agree with. But it's always worth taking a look. Yeah, I just don't really see an opportunity. It's a very hard market to trade. It's just very range bound, really. So I tend to stay away from Australian dollar, New Zealand. Thoughts on Bitcoin? Let's see. I don't even know what Bitcoin's price is at the minute. I saw something about Bitcoin dominance, but I've got no idea really what the Bitcoin dominance chart is. I don't even know how to find it. But I think what we'd really need to see, just from technicals, again, as I always say, I'm not a crypto guy, so please take this with a pinch of salt. I don't actively trade any cryptos, but it seems like we're in a very classic, boring range at the minute. So I'd need to see either a break and continuation up, or a break to the downside and then move down. Obviously, price moves up or down. That's great analysis, but that's all I've got for you, unfortunately. So yeah, if we do see a continuation up, I might look to buy just due to price action, and obviously vice versa. I think if we do start heading down, we could have quite a nice correction down to where is it, 71 maybe. I mean, that might be a little bit generous or a little bit optimistic, or pessimistic, depends on which way you look. But yeah, I think it's possible, I think. For Bitcoin dominance, it's BTC.D. So what do you use Bitcoin dominance for? What would you, so if you were, did it? This one. So I assume the higher Bitcoin dominance means we're bull run, low Bitcoin dominance means a bearish sentiment. I don't really know. Yeah, I tend to keep my trading very boring, to be honest. I think the simpler you can keep it, generally the better. Bitcoin in a range collecting money from retail day traders. Yeah, maybe. It's definitely not doing much movement though. Anyway, back to my comfortable area in currencies. Yeah, there's not any setups really that pique my interest right now. I was looking at Dow. I would still like to go long, but I'm just not really finding much of an opportunity. I think I'm expecting too much with this pullback at the moment, but I don't want to buy at this price. I just think it's a little bit too high for me to be comfortable buying. Well, you know, that's the famous last words of any retail investor, isn't it? It's too high to buy. But in this case, yeah, I'm just not super comfortable. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait on the Dow. Nasdaq's bullish, but I think I've already missed the opportunity on Nasdaq. The FTSE is bullish. I don't trade the FTSE. Oil's bullish, but it's moving to the downside, so I can't trade that. Don't trade platinum. Dollar CAD I don't like because of oil. Dollar ZAR I don't trade. So the only thing that's left, sorry, I just realized I'm not showing that. The only thing that's really left for me is yen. Australian dollar, New Zealand's bearish actually. But yeah, euro dollar, pound dollar's gone. So yeah, I think I'm just stuck with probably looking at yen pairs for the next couple of days at least. Don't follow it much, but Benjamin Cohen on YouTube tracks it closely and has a developed system around it. Interesting. I should probably look into Bitcoin and learn about it, but I just don't have the time. You sold all your positions on Dow except pullback. Oh, expect pullbacks. Yeah. I think in previous cycles when it hit 60 mark, it indicated the start of an alt season. Okay. Well, that's good because I'm still in my Trump coin. And I'm trapped in the Melania, however you say her name. I'm stuck in that coin as well. I mean, they're both basically worthless now. I lost all that money, but you know, I wouldn't be upset if I got half of it back at least. Marcus, I agree. Yen's no trade at the moment. And Bashi, again, I agree. Crypto, I don't mind holding it. I'm quite happy to just hold it through all the noise and all the ridiculousness that happens on short time frames. But yeah, day trading it or even swing trading, I just don't have confidence. Anyway, what was I? Oh, that was it. The DAX, Alex. Okay. So we did discuss the DAX, but just to recap for you, with the ECB being relatively dovish or quite, I'm going to say neutral to dovish, in my opinion, from what the press conference was sounding like yesterday. I'm quite happy to say that the DAX is likely to continue higher. I am, excuse me, I am just waiting for some sort of sufficient pullback, something that would let me in. You know, it could be a 50% move. Even if we get a slightly lower or higher, you know, some sort of move here to around 21.5, that would also be fine. But yeah, I would quite like to buy. I mean, it's, you know, it's on a rally to the upside. So it's very similar to gold, actually. I can't do anything where it is right now, but really on the next pullback, I'll be looking to get in. Did Trump coin rug pull already? It got half rug pulled. I think one of the insiders pulled out like 38 million or something. Don't quote me. I don't know exactly, but someone pulled out a large amount of money and it sent it down. But then buying interest came back. I made like 250% on Trump coin when it was first released. I was like, you know what? I don't mind another 250%. So I went back in and now I'm paying the price. Same thing with Melina coin. I was sat on a Discord call with one of my traders and we watched it go up about 1,000%. We watched it go from $1 up to, I think it was like $12. but I couldn't get in. The Solana chain was down, so I missed that. And then when I could get in, it just dropped. I lost everything. So guys, don't gamble on meme coins because you won't win. It was just my little hope of retiring at 26 as a multi-billionaire. Plus 1,000 and minus 1,000. Yeah, exactly. Anyway. Okay. Sorry, I just need to have a think then. What's Bitcoin under Trump and Europe rejected and legalized? Under Trump and Europe rejected to legalize. Any thoughts? Not really. What do you mean legalize? Bitcoin's not illegal, is it? I don't know. I need a little bit more context as to what you mean by Europe rejected to legalize. I mean, Trump, I would assume is a good sign for Bitcoin. I think he's pretty pro crypto. I mean, during his inauguration or one of his speeches, we watched Bitcoin and it was just flying. I don't think he actually said anything about crypto, but the market seems to like him. Last Friday of each month is a slow day. Yeah, it generally is. We don't normally see, but I mean, Fridays are pretty slow anyway. Generally, unless we've got something like NFP, but yeah, Fridays aren't normally the most fun. Natural gas is interesting as well. I was looking to short, so just another one. So I was looking. I had this short nat gas thesis written up. I mean, it's barely a thesis, but I was paying attention to going short natural gas, and I just didn't execute, and I've missed this whole move, which is really sad because I could have caught it if I was paying attention. But there you go. What can you do? You win some, you miss some. GB AU shorts. Do you mean pound Australian shorts, or are you talking about Australian dollar US dollar shorts? You missed off some letters in that message that would give me a bit more of a hint of what you want. Just Lagarde saying that she's confident no EU central bank will hold Bitcoin. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't great, but what can you do? Again, this is one of the reasons I don't trade it. I just can't keep up with the crypto, indices, commodities, currencies, and do my work as well. My brain would go to mush. Nat gas pays good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, guys, Chris has arrived. So I will love you and leave you. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Fridays and have a great weekend. Just a final note, I am almost at 2,200 subscribers. So if you could leave me a subscribe on YouTube, that would mean the world to me. So guys, have a great one. See you later. Thanks for having me as always. I'll see you next week, hopefully.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to today's A1 trading session. We love engaging with our audience, talking shop, taking requests, and sharing our favorite setups. It's about that time where we're going to review a bunch of indexes, stocks, currencies, gold, silver, Bitcoin, and pretty much anything else and share our insights. If you're wondering what trades I'm in, if you're wondering what trades I'm taking, and you'd like to see exactly how I'm trading everything, you can actually follow my trading signals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, we'll share a link in the chat and you can sign up. You can sign up directly with the link or speak to a support rep if you have any questions. If you're asking, what do I trade? Pretty much everything. Indexes, ETFs, stocks, options, futures, Forex, and crypto. Thoughtful analysis, active trading. Check it out. And now, back to the show. What's happening, everybody? Happy Friday. How is everybody doing? Good to see y'all. We are looking at a bit of a run. 608.77 on the upside. Filled the gap successfully from Friday's close to Monday. We have officially pushed green, but on probably thin margin to close and stay green for the week. So this is where we closed Friday. This is where we opened Monday. The market is officially up above that to give me a green candle for the week. So quite the battle back. I'm curious if we are trying to maintain this or if price is like, okay, we fill the gap and then does the market fall? I don't think so. I mean, we've got pretty decent earnings coming in. Apple had positive earnings. Some of the stocks were back and forth. I mean, I'm going to take a couple small losses here. Like Tesla is at 413. It's right in the middle. It's no good. I need it to be above like 420 or down below like 370. It was neither. So I'm taking a small loss on Tesla. I have another trade out to next week if there's more volatility. Meta took a small profit on this one when we were above the 702.50 mark. I got a small win on this one, but better than nothing. And then Microsoft is going to be a full win with that broken wing butterfly above 470. Never threatened, no profit trap. Just grabbing the 24, like 23, 24 cents credit per contract. And then ended up having a trade. Caterpillar is pushing lower. I just took a debit spread in this one. It hit my liquidity level like within 30 to 40 cents. The problem was because we had earnings, I didn't get the credit that I wanted. So I was up like 30 cents a contract on the trade, and then earnings hit, and it made it a small loss. So fine. Apple had positive earnings, but you can see that Apple is quickly fading. Interesting. I didn't have an Apple trade on. I looked at Intel as well. Intel, up like nothing. I mean, it was up like to 20.33, 20.32, just staying where it is. So I posted this information yesterday. You saw this in the, if you look in the poll alerts in the Discord section for the Trading Journal, non-Mag 7 earnings. So pretty big expectations for this year to see non-Mag 7 earnings do better than before. I mean, Mag 7 is still probably going to be pretty strong, pretty solid, pretty stable, but we see profit margins forecasted for 2025 that are expected to be really, really perfect. And if we actually hit that profit margin for 2025, it's the highest annual net profit margin since 2021, which is right before we went into a bear market, and as high as it was back in 2007, 2008. So again, I mean, a lot of things across the board in the markets are at like the 99th percentile and even like 100th percentile, meaning, consumer optimism, price to earnings, CAPE ratios, everything that shows how the stock market is valued. They're all really, really high valued. That doesn't mean that they can't go higher. Okay. But it does mean there's likely going to be an underperformance if you take these valuations and go out 2, 3, 4, 5 years. There's typically an underperformance. Okay, because we're so high valued, it's hard to rationalize or justify how they can go higher. So that being said, any higher highs in the markets from the index side, I mean, sitting here at all-time highs, I'm a little skeptical. Doesn't mean I'm calling the top, obviously, but I would say even in this last little bit, okay, take this move from Monday's open. Okay, we had that crazy gap lower from DeepSeek / Bank of Japan. If this technical trend line breaks, then I think we would turn the corner, maybe have a little bit more volatility to the downside, right? But if we zoom out for a second, just take a look here. So technically speaking, highs, we poked the highs, had the big drop on Sunday to Monday. Is it possible that this market still breaks the highs once again, but we have another, some type of correction? Do we just wait and see if it turns the corner? The hardest part is like calling the top. That's the hardest part. A lot of my hedges that I have are out to March 31st. So get me through this month. Today is technically end of the month as well. So we kick off a new week with more earnings. Next week, I think there's 800 plus companies reporting earnings next week. I have a chart alarm set on the SPY at 610 to see if we get there today. Let me keep a close eye on that one right now, actually. I'm just going to see what it's trading for. SPY for should have been a expiration for today. There's my 609, 611. Right now we're trading at 80 cents. Okay. So what did I get into the trade for? 609, 611. Pretty cheap trade. So $1.14 minus 71. Got in the trade for 43 cents. Can we get up to $1 plus today? Maybe. So this recent high is 610.79. That's going to be close. I think if we hit this high, got a chart alarm set at 610. If we hit this recent high at 610.81, that should be about $1.80, about $1.80 of credit on the upside. And I'm risking down here like $1.25. So if I can pull in $1.80, close out for $1.25, that'd be a loss. That'd be a win. I'd walk away net positive on the trade. So I'm just keeping a close eye on that one for this morning. We could have some market maker levels drifting higher. You know, directionally, we could be pushing into this like 6140, 6150 zone in SPX. SPY, same type of thing. A little bit more defense around that 610 handle. So I don't think we're necessarily going to like 614, 615 today. But 610 could be at least a run. So I'm going to keep that chart alarm set at 610. Keep an eye on this trade right here to close. Can I get a trade at this like dollar? Let's see. I'm going to try to put it for like $1.75. I'll keep an eye on that one. All right, close out for a couple of winners. All right, I'll keep an eye on that one this morning. Let's go back to just the charts here. So is this making sense as far as just watching technicals? I think this market, if it breaks that little trend line, you know, I could see us poking the highs, not really having a bunch of momentum, coming back down, coming back up, coming back down. I mean, unless we're making like really big strides on inflation, which we're not, you know, everything that came out today for the inflation readings on PCE, it was as expected, right? So here's your 8:30 news. And let's go to PCE. So year over year was forecasted 2.6, came in 2.6. Previous was 2.4. So that's higher PCE, right? Higher year over year, but came in as expected. So the market, I mean, there wasn't a big reaction to it today. There was a huge reaction to CPI, which we tend to see more of a large reaction on CPI versus PPI. And then by the end of the month, it's like nobody cares. PCE, okay, it's just one of the things, even though it's like the most important gauge that the Fed is using. So we're told. Higher than previous print. Okay, but at forecast, fine. Month over month, exactly as forecast. Month over month personal income, exactly as forecast. Personal spending, higher. Where's my other year over years? Where'd my core PCE go? There it is. Core PCE. Forecasted 0.2, came in 0.2. Previous print was 0.1. Core PCE year over year. Forecasted 2.8, came in 2.8. Previous is 2.8. So it's not bad, but it's not great. It's not improving. So on top of that, if we look at the 10-year yield, that's still sitting at 4.5. I think that 4.5 to 5%. I'll make a note here. If we have the US 10-year, okay, if we have the US 10-year, 4.5% to 5% window, that's growth resistant, okay, or resistance. If we have US 10-year moving lower, okay, better for bonds and borrowing. US 10-year higher and greater than 5%. Watch out. That would probably be the biggest risk-off tone that I think the market would take, is if we see the US 10-year heading up to that 5% handle, and possibly going higher, because the bond market's doing the exact opposite of what the Fed has done since they cut rates in September. So this is an important spot to watch. Currency strength-wise today, we have Aussie and New Zealand on top. We got the dollar Swiss that were stronger this morning, came back to baseline. Japanese yen classic Japanese yen all over the place, crazy strong yesterday and very weak today. Not a lot on the volatility side though. I mean, this was a very volatile Japanese yen yesterday, getting up towards. You had like, what is that, CAD yen? So Bank of Canada cut rates again. I think that's potentially noisy. I'll take a look at the dollar CAD in a moment. But I mean, that's a big swing, right? That's a 170 pip swing on CAD yen to the downside. And then today we got Aussie, New Zealand on top, JPY coming back to baseline. We're just getting like a slow freaking grind today, aren't we? All right. I am watching. Chart alarm set at 610. I think that directionally could be hit. All right. So markets trying to get back to all-time highs again. Question is, are they going to get to all-time highs and keep staying into open space? The market would be happy to see, okay, there's one all-time high for the year. If we get a second all-time high for the year, what happens after that, right? This was the first all-time high of 2025, and then we had a just silly little overreaction. And here we are back up towards the all-time highs. Do we hit another one and keep going, right? Just slow, but it gets up there to higher highs? Or does this structure end up breaking? Do we just eke out these slightly higher highs and then work our way back down? I don't think we're necessarily taking out the lows yet, but I'm looking to see. I mean, I'm trying to stay out of the way. A lot of trades I have in are looking for this to be kind of a trade window, where as long as price doesn't go above like 60-20 or 60-30, or doesn't get back down below like 50, I see 570 or 560, then I can pull in some profit. But volatility is down today, so we've got 1 day is way down, VIX 30 days down, SPXY. Change this back. I'll go switch charts. SPY to 609.32. All right, we're getting a little pop. Okay, looks like my market maker 610 is coming in. Okay, if we hit 610, that's another 70 cents. Could I see another 50, 60, 70 cents of this trade? I hope I can. Keep an eye on this one. Might as well cheer it on now. See what we can get out of it. All right. So market's trying. It's trying hard. It's, I'd say, tough to justify like highs with a bunch of momentum, but we're clearly not getting a bunch of bearish price action outside of that shakeout we had in December. There's still a lot of uncertainty out there, but I don't know if this market like blows the top off and gets bubbly, or we just have this like real struggly like 1 or 2% swing where it's just trying to eke out highs, but it just can't justify the momentum. Earnings season that's coming in. We had Mag 7 this week, and we'll have more next week. Google's a big one for next week. Google sitting near all-time highs. Take a look at NASDAQ. Okay, can the Qs hit all-time highs? We'll find out. The Dow is just off the all-time highs. I think this is a spot here. Again, I don't know if I should be shorting that, but I kind of want to look at a trade right now just to see. So Dow, and I could look at Dow futures, but I think I'll just do DIA. Let me go out 49 days. Not a bad spot. How much higher could I go if I looked at a bull call spread? Deltas go down in a hurry, 5 wide. I'm probably not going to get enough premium for this. We're trading at 450. Expect to move is around $14. Could I do a 1? So 1, 1, 1. That's a horrible trade. No, that's a silly trade. I probably have to do it on Dow futures, which that's way more risk. So I'm not going to do that. We're at 609.50. All right, Spy, what you got? What you got today? 609.50. I'm watching this trade pretty closely, so I'm going to keep spot checking this thing. Now my 40-cent debit is trading for about $1. Trying to get a little bit more out of it. My max profit's $2. So if we hit 610, that's what I'm watching for. possibly some levels into, I mean, there's open space above 610. If we can crack 610, we might be able to drift up into the 614, 615 zone, but I'm not planning on that big push today. But we'll see. That would be the previous all-time high was 610.78. Previous all-time high 610.78. All right, so Dow, I was looking at a potential trade. I just don't think the premium is that great. Let me see if I can do anything on the actual. Let's go Dow futures. Got all S&P. Go Dow. Gosh darn it. What's my futures feed? MY. All right, so we got Russell. There's my S&P. Where the heck's my Dow at, man? There we go. And no options. Never mind. All right, and how about Russell? 0.43. Russell growth back up near all-time highs. Russell top 200 value has ripped off of that 200 moving average. I wish I picked up that trade, but I did not. It is up off the lows. Not a bad little mover. Up around 7%. Okay, there's your Russell futures. Volatility, like I said, 30 days and 1 day is down. See if we get a bit more of a melt up. I'd have to wait for a big nasty fall to buy some SPXY. Dollar index, if this is still going to continue to decline slightly. So if we're making, lower highs and lower lows on the smaller time frames, I still think the dollar is very well supported at that 106, 105.50 zone. I'm not doing anything on dollar pairs right now. The only exposure I have is Aussie dollar long, New Zealand dollar long, dollar CAD, dollar Swiss. I closed out for profit. Oil, hopefully oil just kind of hangs out in the middle. There's my CL trade, and I'm looking for a 50% take profit. Natural gas is just getting its butt kicked again. I at least have until 2027, but I'm curious what my sell side looks like. Let me go into UNG for a second. Okay, so there's my 609, 610, or 609, 611. Let me look at UNG for a second. UNG, the 5x23, right now that 23 call is already around 75% profit. If I see this trading around 90+% profit, then I'll probably just close it and reapply the position. And I could probably do this well before the April expiration. So I'll keep an eye on that one. Uber, we have earnings on Uber next week. I have I've got 2 naked puts on this one. It's up $100. Still have some time because of earnings. Let's see what Uber looks like. Uber. I mean, I jumped on board because we had a decent sell-off from like the 86 highs down to 60. And this isn't a stock that I would mind owning. I don't mind it. So there's the 60 by 57.50 puts. Collected $300 on the trade, 314 per the 2 contracts. And if I'm willing to own it, it'd be 57. So price would have to drop $10 for me to have any type of ownership. But I would be willing to own it and repair the trade. I mean, it's a pretty high premium stock. If we're dropping, especially, I would imagine Q4 earnings would be pretty decent. Okay, gold. We talked about gold pretty much all week. Are we going to all-time highs? Yes, we're at all-time highs. Do we have a bunch of momentum to the upside? We will find out. I'm not buying the all-time highs, but I'm looking to see if right now, if we have a fake out trade on gold, then maybe we come back. you know, if anyone saw the overreaction yesterday, did anyone see that like 3:30 p.m., 3:35 p.m.? It was like a quick announcement, like, or a headline flash that Trump is doing like 25% tariffs on Canada, Mexico. And the market reacted like really unfavorably for 5 or 10 minutes, and then it came back up towards the close, and then futures overnight got it right back to the highs. Here we are looking at higher highs this morning. So just noise. But does something happen over the weekend? I don't know. Anyway, gold, if we end up making like a decent little drift to the upside, then I would watch for that to become resistance. So that's resistance. If it pulls back and becomes support, then I could look at maybe establishing some more positions on gold. Right? Like the hardest way for me to trade gold right now would be if this thing just goes up and then pauses and goes up and pauses. That's my least favorite way to trade it. But if we have a pullback or a pullback, like I will buy some dips. Otherwise, I just hang out of my GLD and my credit spreads and option trades and the shares, and off we go. Silver had a pretty good week. Overall, silver decently bullish. If we go to XAU, XAG to compare, look at the weekly candle. So silver outperformed gold this week, which was kind of nice. I wouldn't mind seeing the silver outperform even further and trying to pull back into like the halfway point of this range, or even outperforming to the degree of, look, gold can go higher, but silver can go higher faster. And maybe this chart is still range bound. Okay. But I still like my silver and my gold. Let's go Bitcoin, hanging out at 105. I mean, kind of a quiet week on Bitcoin, to be honest. Weekly candle outside of that little fake out on Monday. We had a low on Bitcoin around 97,750 and currently trading around 105.6. But previous all-time highs were last week when we poked all the way up towards like 109. I mean, there's what looks to be some pretty decent resiliency. Again, I'm a little skeptical of buying all-time highs. So do we, revisit highs? Is it a fake out? Is it a range here, like in intermediate range, or is it a bigger range? So maybe the 109 handle is resistance and this like 92 handle is support. So R for resistance, S for support. I'm just going to wait and see. If it breaks and goes higher, I have exposure in Bitcoin, benefits to the upside. If it pulls back, I'll look to add more trades. Okay. All right. Exposure. See that trade that I have there, 30 by 15. All right, that's fine for a collar trade. IBIT. Collar trade's a 67 by 40. We're trading at $60 right now. That's out to March. MSTR still hanging out above 310, which is the level I need. We have earnings on MicroStrategy, I think, next week. Yep, next week, MicroStrategy earnings. That's going to be interesting and probably volatile. Coinbase still hanging in there with some resiliency. Copper, I'm going to stay out of copper until we hit a chart alarm, maybe around the 405 handle. Japanese yen futures, I'm long out to September. Nikkei still just so much chop and noise there. FXY, another ETF. I am long EWJ and EWZ for Japan and Brazil. DAX made a fresh high today, fading slightly, but one of the crazier moves that's actually outperforming the U.S. markets right now. FTSE, the UK coming in big with a big day yesterday. Argentina still waiting for a better pullback. There's my Brazil trade. I'm going to put this. That's fine. Brazil's looking pretty good. Apple gapped up towards 246 and fading. I didn't trade the earnings itself. I do have some ratio spreads down here at the 210 and 195. Amazon still hanging out around all-time highs. Google has earnings next week. We're sitting at all-time highs. Earnings next week on Google. Price to perfection. Yeah, I hope, I don't know. I don't want to wish anything bad on Google, but I would hope we have a dip or a pullback versus a blowout top. If we blow that top, do we fade? I mean, Google's a great price compared to Meta at $700, compared to Microsoft at $416. Netflix is, I mean, it hit $1,000 during earnings. Apple's slightly more expensive as well. I mean, I think Google still has a lot of potential. I've got a lot of income trades down here. but I'm just going to wait. I mean, if this wants to run to fresh all-time highs, okay, fine, but I don't like it. Like, I'm not buying these highs. Meta, I needed price to get above 702. It did. It's a 702.77. I closed out for a small win on earnings, like I said. Microsoft, that's going to be a winner today. So we've got some winners on SPX. We got winners on SPY, QQQ. I took some profit this week on Chewy as well. I let go of some shares. I had 200 shares since like the teens. I closed it out for price around 37 bucks. So that was a nice little winner. I'm letting go of it, getting some buying power back. Here's Netflix. I do have a broken wing butterfly in this one. I'm not sure what the expiration is. Let me take a look at it. So let's go to Netflix. There's my broken wing. Right now it's upside down slightly. Yeah, trading for about $1.25, $1.28, whatever, $1.30. My max profit is, so price would have to be above 1050. 1050 is my break-even point. If we're at 1060, I take on $1,000 of risk. It's about $900 of risk. But I do have a profit trap here. Let me see the expected move. So 1030 to 1060. Let me look at the options chain. Okay, so right now, just outside the expected move. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, profit trap is fine. Let me see if I can do analysis on this one. 1, 2, 3. So there's what the trade looks like. If I can zoom in. There. It's real sensitive. There we go. Okay, so here's the trade. Here's Netflix price. So I collected my dollar credit. That's this whole thing. This whole thing is a dollar credit. All right. I do have a profit trap that's offering about $1,100 of profit. If we are greater than 1060, then I'm taking on about $900 of risk. If we're at 1050, that's break even. So I mean, I have some wiggle room here. And being about a 20 delta post earnings, I mean, unless the market's going to be melting up higher, I mean, sure, Netflix can go higher too. But I'm taking a chance on the trade. Premiums were good. I mean, if I just get the income out of the $100 credit, that's fine. A profit trap would be pretty awesome. This expiration is not super far out. I went out to the end of February. So historically speaking, by the way, let me see in Edge Finder, do we have seasonality for February? I think we do. Today is the end of the month. So let's go seasonality month of year on the S&P. So 10-year average, interesting. So this shows that January and February and March, April, but January came out with a pretty decent rip. April pullbacks. Okay. I mean, I could see, I don't know. I mean, anything could happen, right? Yeah, 2025 is going to be a wild year. I feel like you take the first half of the year compared to the second half of the year. Everyone was super optimistic. You know, the market kind of threw around some tariff uncertainty. It's a lot of threats. We'll see if there's follow through or not. Nvidia back up to 126 and change. I'm looking for a gap fill here for the next maybe 30 to 60 days. Tesla, can we get up to a high? Tesla, I've got a 5 by 427.50. We're about to find out. Probably not right now, but can Tesla make a big old run today? Set a chart alarm around that 427.50. Okay, if that gets poked today, then I'm going to grab some profit out of a Tesla earnings trade for this week and next week. But this is the trade. So it was a 360 by 357.50 on the put side, and then the 425, 427.50 on the call side. That total debit was, I want to say the total debit was like $1 $1.50 maybe, $1.60. Look at the trade alerts. So stocks, Tesla, where's it at? IBM, that trade never filled. Microsoft, that's a broken wing butterfly for profit. Meta took a small win. Tesla traded for $1.08. I mean, I don't have to do anything. I could reduce the risk and take a small, like 70-cent loss. If somehow Tesla can get up today, I don't know if it's going to or not. Tesla from 401 to 4, it's already up 415, 416. It's up like $15 on the day. I don't know. I mean, it's like, do I save myself the 70 cents of risk, or do I give the stock a chance to work today and maybe get me a profit? I mean, so I can save, like I said, about 70 cents of risk. But if the market can get up to 425, 475, it was an out of the money call spread that even if this trades for, back up towards like a dollar, it's much smaller loss. So I'm willing to kind of risk the 30 cents and see, maybe Tesla has till the end of the day a little melt up. If it does, hooray, I'll turn it into a profit. Max profit would be 250, but we'd have to have a pretty big move to do that. All right, so I'll keep an eye on that one, but I've got a chart alarm set at 427.50. Let's see if we get there by today. Berkshire Hathaway kind of nailed that ratio spread. Good timing wise. This is probably going to be close to full profit soon. SHY, fine. So bonds are going up a little bit. 10-year down slightly. You got to wonder if we're having low, higher low, higher low. I mean, if this thing turns the corner and heads back up again, that's probably not a good sign. If this thing comes down, then I would have a much easier case to justify that the market can get to all-time highs and still continue to push slightly higher. So it is something to watch. We keep talking about this. Lee says, if tariffs are put on Canada, Mexico, both impose retaliatory tariffs, how and when does it end? Your question is a great question. I have no idea. I mean, look, tariffs across the board are going to affect the consumer and be inflationary. So if it's, retaliation back and forth with, trade allies, who knows what it ends? I don't know. So I would say just it's another thing that just spikes the uncertainty meter, and we got to watch price. I mean, but I'm not going to make a forecast and trade, some macro theme and say, well, tariffs are coming, so this is what I'm going to do. It's like I'm not doing anything unless the market actually shows price action to support that. Tariffs are something that's breaking price down, or inflation is in fact like pushing higher. So, I mean, the Fed right now to basically take no action until maybe June of this year. That's a lot of CPI news coming in every month. That's a lot of time for like shelter prices to come back down. That's a lot of time for the real estate market to still remain at a pause. If we keep seeing all this inflation or the tariff news, then we'll get more clarity out of who's playing ball and who's not, or just making a bunch of threats. So I don't know how it's going to play out, but going to watch price, try to find out. Okay, so there's 10-year, I think, which is super important. We got our futures feeds here. So bonds moving back up a little bit. Aussie futures, Euro futures, pound futures, palladium. Not a bad spot off of some recent lows. Platinum, not a bad spot off of some recent lows. Should be corn. I mean, I can trade corn with Tasty's platform. I talked about corn with a potential pullback. So if we go kind of a crown pattern here, if corn can pull back, I'd love to see like a head and shoulders or a crown pattern that I could trade long. I was looking for corn futures originally to get down into a way more attractive support zone, but we turned pretty hard. It's not a surprise. Like a lot of this future stuff pivoted right around the Fed, like August, September. A lot of stuff pivoted. So I mean that's a big move from low to high. Soybeans, kind of similar, where we have some support coming back to the 200 moving average. There's a lot of support back into the 2019, 2020 level. I don't think we necessarily have like that type of soybean move, but hey, coffee did it, cocoa did it, live cattle. I mean, we've had a lot of high future prices. Wheat still a little bit beat up, but you never know. Cocoa back up towards those crazy highs. If I'm going to play commodities, this is a broad-based commodity ETF, FTGC, DBC. Those are pretty easy to trade. Spreads are still pretty tight, though. This is, your AAA, triple B, triple C, treasuries and yields. So, I mean, spreads are still seemingly pretty tight. China. All right, so we're down slightly. Here's Alibaba. Had a heck of a run for the week. I mean, look at the weekly candle. That's a big candle. Probably one of the larger candles we've seen single direction since September, and then again since January 2023. So is there some momentum behind this? Well, I'd certainly like to think so. I hope so. I'm long for that reason, but we'll find out. FXI, decent move this week. K-Web also decent move this week. JD hanging above 40 bucks. I think I did a roll on JD this week. Let me find out here. JD. So I've got the shares, 39 by 30. Do I want to roll this or do I want to repair this? That is the question. Let me see. Earnings into March. I think I'm doing this to get it. The plan is I'm trying to get it called away before earnings. But I think earnings could be fine. I just have to have either the courage to stick with it through earnings. Let me see if I get anything for a roll. So if I roll this out by a week, keep the strikes the exact same. Let me see what this looks like. I rolled out by a month. If I roll this out by a month, I get another $1. That's another $500 of profit if it just stays where it is. If I can roll this up, I still get credit and increase my profit target. So I could roll this up to $40 out by another 21 days. So that gives me another $500 and 51. I guess it'd be $550 per contract, or per share rather. Contract. So I've got. I'm trying to think. If I get another 5.51 on top of a break even right now, this could turn into be a pretty good trade. JD 35.92 is my break even. So 35.92 minus 51, get it called away at 40. Make 22.95. I mean, this initially started at like a $500 repair, and I could potentially make 22.95. I got this in on three accounts, so just shy of $7,000. It's not a bad repair if you ask me. Also, there's protection. I mean, the $30 put would be at 25 cents. I'm giving myself enough time to go through earnings into that first part of March, and if this 25 cent debit becomes higher, I can also work the cost basis lower. But if JD has good earnings and we can stay above this through March, I think this is worth taking. So I am going to roll the 30 by 39 collar trade. I'm going to roll this and go out to the expiration, the monthly expiration for March, and roll this up to 40 bucks and keep the $30 put. Try to get 55 cents. Okay, not filling, replace. Let me try to get a couple, just a few cents lower maybe. 54. 53. I did do a roll yesterday on Baidu like I talked about. Try to just penny this down and see where I'm going to fill that. 52. I mean, come on, bro. 51. What's the dealio? 50. I mean, I'm 5 cents below the mid price. All right. That's annoying. Okay, let's try this again. 40. I'm going to go 45 cents. Come on. Really? That's way lower. I'll go 10 cents lower than the mid price. Unbelievable. All right, well, that's going to get canceled. I'll look at that later. That's crazy. I can't get that thing to roll for a better fill. Right now, I mean, it gets called away right now. It's fine. If I get it called away, I don't have to do anything. This is right before earnings. 35.92. Get it called away at 39. I make that on 500 shares. There's a big difference, right? I mean, I'd much rather make $2,200 per account versus $1,540 per account. Just a matter of a roll. So anyway, let me look at that later. Schwab dividend, Schwab growth. Schwab growth is doing pretty well. I have some exposure on that. Put that across the board. SCHG right there. Up 1,800 bucks. Okay, I'm going to do a quick spot check on my SPY. SPY right now is trading for just over $1. 609.68. 610 is my big liquidity level. Come on, let's tap something. Tap something. All right, I'll keep an eye on that one. Chart alarm is set at 610, so hopefully we can hit it with a bit more momentum. 610.70. What's the high in the SPY? 610.76 is the all-time high. So let me set a chart alarm right there. And we'll see if we can get back to all-time highs after a little Sunday to Monday fake out. All right, all right. Let's get back down to our stocks here. Costco just freaking tearing today. Earnings are coming up next week. Again, a lot of these stocks, price to perfection. Walmart, 98. I did a roll. What did I do yesterday on Walmart? I think I rolled these up. I did quite a bit of work yesterday at 3 p.m. for my final hour session on Walmart. I think I rolled it up to 100 and something, or I just got more premium. Let me find out. So Walmart, I went to a 105 by 80, a 110 by 85, a 105. Yeah, so I rolled my strikes up. So now my new collar, I've got a break even around 90. Let's see, where's my break even? New collar, 105. The heck, dude. Oh yeah, I basically just rolled it up. So from 100 to 80, now to 105.76.67. So I need to add that in. It was basically like a free. So the break even is about the same still. So 90.88, it's going to be 90.80. Rolled to 620 expiration, 105 by 76 collar, and 90.80 is now the break even there. So if it gets called away, it gets called away $5 higher. Sitting here at all-time highs on Walmart. Nike looking better. I've got some naked puts on that one. Home Depot and Lowe's, maybe some earnings plays. MasterCard, big fat rip to the upside. Everyone loves a credit card. So MasterCard at all-time highs. Visa at all-time highs. Amex, just off all-time highs pre-earnings. Johnson & Johnson looking way better. 140 puts look good. Progressive looking good. CB looking good. Palantir. Earnings next week. I might not even have to play this. This could be just sitting in profit before we even get to earnings. Palantir has earnings on, I believe, Monday. Monday after market. That'll be a notable one for next week. That's why I got into the trade. I'm like, well, if we carry this over Monday earnings. All right, and then we have our sectors. So get some currencies, and then I'll wrap it up for today. Okay, so Aussie CAD, I'm still hanging in there long. Swiss crosses, I'm still long, except for dollar Swiss. I'm out of that one. Yen pairs, I'm not doing anything. Yen pairs, I'm waiting. I had mentioned, you know, anyone asking me about yen crosses, I just said watch the range. We've got horizontal levels here, horizontal levels here. I can see range trading on the Aussie yen. Lots of levels here just to go back and forth. And look, you'll have to just survive it. If you want to trade the yen, you got to survive it. I wouldn't be sitting here holding shorts. That would be super expensive. So I don't like that trade at all. You know, I mean, the best barometer for the yen is when does the Bank of Japan speak up and break something, and all of a sudden the market reacts to it, and there's a good trade on the yen. But I don't know when the heck that is. You know, is it possible that this is some type of head and shoulders trade? Maybe, or it could just be a big fat fake out, like high to low. We have a low, we have a low. If price doesn't really break that low, there's no follow through. This could be a perfect bear trap, and this thing just comes right back up. So I'm just staying out of the yens. Okay, Aussie New Zealand. I'm long towards this recent high. Aussie dollar, I'm still long right now. Seeing if the dollar will get a little bit weaker. If so, I'll look at anything above like 63.50 or 64 to take some profit on that one. CAD Swiss, lots of levels to buy. I buy that level, buy the flash crash low. If I buy here and buy here, this is going to be my first profit target, which is right at the center high. But I'm looking at this pocket as well. I think eventually we do put in a strong enough bottoming pattern where this CAD Swiss becomes an awesome trade. I've already measured this one. If this retests the lows, low, low, center high, I would double that move. I think this has potential to get all the way up towards like 67 or 6,800. Okay, I'm going to see if the SPY today can get up to 610, and we can poke those all-time highs at 610.78. If that is the case, I should be able to grab some profit out of that bull call spread. CAD Swiss is fine. CAD yen, Swiss yen. Swiss yen, I still have a trade on Swiss yen. It's up a few pips, nothing crazy. Euro Aussie, I haven't looked at these in a bit. Euro Aussie, Euro CAD, Pound Aussie, Pound CAD. Maybe a range trade. I'm not doing anything on them right now. Some resistance there, some support there. A lot of grinding in there, but I'm probably not taking the trade. I would watch to see if we get a price pattern at resistance. Euro CAD has been messy. Yeah, I'm not touching that one. Euro Swiss, I'm long. I've got a bunch of stacked orders on this one. I like this trade a lot. Euro Pound, ended up taking some profit. I didn't take profit. Oh, you son of a bee. What was my profit target? Oh, son, I had an 85 profit target. You turd. Well, I guess, fudge, man. Euro to pound. I don't want to close this thing out. I'm going to keep it, though. I'm going to keep this trade running. If we take out this high, maybe this is a bit of a swing trade, and I'll look to take my profit slightly higher. I wanted this trade. It was right there. 85 was my take profit. Shoot. Actually, I'm going to close this out. I'm taking a small win on the Euro Pound. So bought it over here, closing it out now, just taking a small win. Yeah, whatever. Because if it just and I could buy it again. I mean, if it pulls back down, into the same lows again, I'll probably buy it and try to get a slightly lower high, something like that. But I'm just going to take the small win on Euro Pound right now. Euro New Zealand, same thing. A lot of range bound trading. Watch the breakout. Put a box on this. Put a box right there. If we break and go lower. So do we break and go lower? Do we break and go higher? Not much to trade there in the middle. Euro dollar. So we pulled back to 105 handle. I do think that 105, 106 is still resistance. So if the dollar gets weaker, then sure, this could come back up into that 105, 106 handle. I can see a lot of resistance still hanging out there. I would wait for a trend line break. If we're going to resume a dollar trend, that's dollar strength. I look for euro dollar to then break and sell back off. So again, I just think it's noise. I think there's a lot of noise in the currency market. I think there's a lot of noise on the dollar index. And we're just going to see if we have some drift in the equities market, which right now today, 605 closed yesterday, gapping up and pushing and drifting higher. Just let it do its thing. Pound pairs, pound Aussie, chop. Pound CAD, chop. Pound Swiss, still long. Still in a range though. Pound yen, wouldn't even touch it. Pound New Zealand. I like this one back into, if we have a, trying to think, like back into these moving averages. So if we push a little bit lower, I would like to scoop up some pound New Zealand, at least from a daily perspective, like really good trend overall, right? Nice channel, but I want to see a deeper pullback. Otherwise, not touching it. Pound dollar. Again, similar to the euro dollar. I mean, the pound dollar broke a pretty solid trend line. Let me zoom out a little bit. I mean, that's a pretty decent trend line to break. So if this is a little bit of a pullback in here, I could see this area, backside of the trend line becoming resistance, and then wait for a break. If it breaks, stop loss above the swing, and then see if we hit fresh lows. Why would that be the case? If dollar gets stronger, Bank of England starts cutting rates, Fed's still pausing. That's all. Okay. But I mean, right, I don't like to trade. Not right now. If this gets back up to like 2,600, I'd say between 26 and 2,800, that to me is looking for a resistance zone. If we hit that resistance, then confirm, I would be willing to take a swing trade and then go after that low or lower. But 120 is to me like a pretty good target. Pretty good target. Okay, do a quick spot check on the SPY. So 110. I mean, can we break this level? Market makers can step in right around that 610 handle. I can see that pretty clearly, but there's not a lot stopping this market today. So all-time high sitting at 610.70. I'm going to see if I can get this thing to drift a little bit higher. I mean, what's another dollar, right? From 605. I mean, can we get a $6 move today? Yeah, let's go. Let's go 611. Okay, I've got to take profit set at 175. I'll keep an eye on that one today. Come on. All right, anything else? New Zealand CAD. I'm still long in this one. I got a lot of levels on New Zealand CAD, just trying to get back to this recent high 86. I like that trade a lot, actually. New Zealand Swiss, I'm still holding long. New Zealand yen, nothing. New Zealand dollar, I'm still holding long with small positions. Dollar CAD, we had a big reaction yesterday. Like I said, that could be a bit of a manipulation play. Just be careful on that dollar CAD. I took the trades long, took my profit. Now I'm waiting to see, do we break this low? So if that was a little spike out on the BOC news yesterday, do we end up coming back down to breach this low and then having a sell-off trade? Does this help with oil? I don't know. I think oil's still going to be range bound between $67 and $80 or 85, whatever that recent holiday high was. But anyway, I'm not doing anything on dollar CAD. I'm out. I'm happy. If it goes higher, then maybe it's additional trend trading. We break and go higher, bounce there and then higher highs. Just try to keep the stop loss out of the way. But I'm curious how this area gets manipulated. There's a lot of chop going on right there. Yep. And we'll see what the market does next week. I mean, if tariffs are going to affect tomorrow, what's Monday's open? I don't know. Does it affect the CAD? Does it affect the Mexican peso? I mean, I haven't looked at the peso in a second, but I mean, even the news yesterday didn't really look like, oh man, the peso. It's just, look, it's still dollar strong. I mean, that's a big comeback trade. That's 35,000 pips or something ridiculous like that. 40,000 pips on the peso since our low last year. I mean, super volatile, but I don't really have a trade. I mean, the last time I traded the peso, in all honesty, was like the Trump trade in 2020. That was a COVID trade, and then the 2020 or the 2016 election. I think this was enough of a shakeout for me to see, like, I was long the peso, or I'm sorry, long the dollar, and that trade during the Trump election went absolutely bananas, and then we came all the way back down. So I thought that was, when I saw like 20,000 pips in a day when the average is like 3,000 pips, I'm like, okay, that's a little bit more than like, oh wow, we had a 100 pip day on average, and now it's 150 to 200 pips. That would be like taking a 100 pip trading range and going up like to 1,000 pips in a day. It's crazy. So that just made me realize like this exotic currency stuff can be really, really risky. So I have been trading them pretty much since 2016. All right. That being said, let's wrap it up there for the day. Happy Friday. Overall, pretty good week. Winners on silver, SPX, Qs, XP, Chewy, Microsoft, Meta, SPY. Did take a couple losses. I mean, if I take a loss on Tesla, okay, fine. If I take a loss on CAT, okay, fine. But overall for the week, pretty solid. Just off the all-time highs in the portfolio. So I've got a pretty good start to the year, up 124K. And I'm fine with that. This was up yesterday like 130, 132. So as long as it's pretty resilient, I've got some hedges out to March, and I'll just continue to grind and continue to trade. That is the MO. All right, 609.77. Let's go. Can't stop, won't stop. Get to these all-time highs. You might as well. We haven't hit 610 either. Just looking to see like market makers just stay out of the way. Let this be a little liquidity hunt. Maybe poke these all-time highs. Give us some Friday momentum. Market shows its resiliency once again. Crazy overreaction. Market spends the entire week pulling back and then closing above the gap from Friday. Pretty impressive stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good Friday. Good weekend. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching today's A1 Trading Show. We hope you enjoyed, and we're excited for a brand new year of trading with you. If you're new, consider subscribing for daily videos and live streams all year long. Be sure to check out the description below for our latest deals and offers. 2025 is just the beginning of our best year yet. We'll see you tomorrow.